Piper, you're a jerk. I know it's McCready. He's the thing.
My client is innocent.
So good to see you.
Into the internet, and the internet is always right. To have affairs with different women.
Now, how do you like apples?
We played sandlot baseball. We made up games.
Stay here while I go talk.
Yeah,
they're missing out on these incredible stories.
JBL, I don't apologize to anybody.
You believe that? 20.
But you had a lot of dissension in the Army itself.
There's no easy way out. I'm on the bar. Easy.
Went into Vietnam because of expansion, territorial and global expansion. That was the real reason.
We talked about money over people's lives.
Taylor.
Johnson and the buzzer.
Right on his case.
Because we have to come up with some kind of control.
Unbelievable play, and colleague here has been elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame.
So they lost 97-85 at home.
name is Buck, and he is the stuff.
Advice is an opinion. Experience is the only way.
You're the third person who's given me this today.
There's so many different levels to the onion.
You're the ones we saw in front of the castle.
I don't.
I don't understand what you're talking about.
He lost to a black girl who sucked. Me.
Associated with money. Me! They called your name. All hope was lost by many people.
The way you're looking at me, we must be old friends.
That's terrific.
This friendship is close to my heart.
I would say or not.
For every single woman.
2001 to me is duller than dirt.
Hi, I'm Potsy, and this is my good buddy Fonz.
Guess I'm the only one he didn't invite.
That's thicker than water and thicker than your blood.
How long was it before we were in Korea?
For USA title.
And this is where there's a personal connection as well.
She was afraid you didn't pack enough underwear.
I guess a lot of people I know are jerks.
What's beautiful about the story of our lives.
Very sick boy.
Underappreciated mainly by Tom Petty himself.
The script is 450 pages long.
This is Michael.
But happiness and pain are not two separate things.
You heard, Leela.
They are tired of your talk, Isaac.
Place where you see somebody drowning, you jump in and you save them, so you're at the wrong place at the right time.
American dream lives on in Minnesota.
For the part of a lifetime.
Are you listening to me?
This film needs to come back because of the world situation we're in right now. Because I can control this sport with one move. DDT.
Oh, look at this!
Don't dare play me cheap.
You need to have time for yourself, time to live, time to breathe.
The Nobel Peace Prize.
His favorite movies ever of all time. I gotta buy this poster.
You were 34. Kill anybody who does.
Scars remind us of where we've been.
This doesn't grow on trees, you know.
That could inhabit the body of the doll.
Technology is to a point now that you could learn a lot from kids.
Morrison is gone. He is fouled by Hudson.
These are titanium.
One guy was about to come over the rail to get to hit the boss.
There's that head-to-head matchup, and he clearly...
If I didn't play basketball, I would probably be in a game.
Quote the Raven, nevermore.
On the way down.
Complex things are become even more complex.
This is Lucas. You have to take risks. You have to fall down. You have to get hit to get up again. You have to fight.
You won't be able to stand the rigors of the NBA. And now that
when they were having those meetings during the civil rights and these athletes took a step forward.
All human beings are all inherently psychic.
You might try that hot shot.
For me, the perfect ending is Orson Welles' Citizen Kane.
Wow, I need to have that faith in myself too.
That's another one.
In LA playing professional sports.
And from that point on, I took that to every level.
We take it one step at a time.
Yeah, I'm trying to win this entire thing.
Like in sports, I'm sure Jim would say the same thing. You don't play for individual awards.
Oh, yeah, I'd love to be able to say I beat all these guys. About the pride and the pride.
Prize is pretty darn good, too.
It's always about the pride.
I'm trying to go to Green. I'm here to win the whole thing.
I come here to chew gum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubble gum.
It really is about winning.
Yeah, heck yeah, I'm here to win. It's in my DNA.
I'm here to do my best.
Everybody has some pride.
Victory has 1,000 fathers, but defeat is an orphan. Plan on winning tonight.
Here doing mental push-up.
Winning is really important. What's even greater is inspiring. That's what you do with this show.
Well, you're in it to win it, or why be in it at all?
I'm about winning.
I think I'd be more interested in the prize.
It's about the prize.
I am here to go for the gusto.
Why are you keeping score if you don't want to win it?
I would like to win. We all want to win.
I'm here to win.
You know, I'll leave it up to the voters.
Of course, I'd love to win.
I'm always in it to win it, Avi.
I'm definitely in it to win it.
I've already won.
I hate losing. I want to go to Greece.
It's about the pride. You don't want to come in second. You want to be first.
Well, of course I am. I don't do nothing to lose.
Yes, I do. Of course I do. I want to go to Greece.
I have a newborn daughter. I'm here to win it for her.
Wouldn't be on here if I wasn't going to win something.
Yes! I'm going to win it all, man! I'm winning it all, baby.
So definitely.
To win, I'll turn it back into the pool.
The money? Absolutely. I'm going for it.
Party people! Oh, that's right. I'm here.
Nothing better than the top.
Well, I'm going to give it 110%.
We don't go out with no losing mentality.
I'm here to win. Yeah.
Yes, I'm here to win the whole thing, man. I don't get in the ring for losing, man. I'm like in the ring right now.
To do the best I can. Looking forward to it.
But I am here to win.
I'm here to win it, win it.
If they had competition in it, I definitely want to be the one to win.
Use that to kind of opportunity to do those similar things.
Somebody's going to be a winner.
And have to want to win this thing.
The Mountie always gets his man.
Dude, I'm going to win.
I don't play. I just win.
You finally feel as if you made it when you were, I don't know, maybe being stopped in groceries and airports after appearing on Mary Hartman.
That's exactly right. You've really done your research. That's impressive.
You're sheer 9 or 10. You're probably 9.5. And 10 is no one's perfect. But honest to God, you're terrific. You do your homework. And
I appreciate
I've done
that.
everybody. I've done, in the 80s, I did Johnny Carson, I did Merv Griffin, I did it all. And you're very energetic and good, and you asked the right question.
Welcome, Bronson Pinchot, my friend.
Thank you. I commend you for that.
I mean, that was fantastic. You are great. The only other person that has that kind of spontaneity and the gift of gab was the late, great Chick Hearn. We thought Golden Throat was gone, but he's reincarnated in you.
Thank you, Avi. I agree with all your previous guests. You give good intro.
Another trio of questions, now more underrated. We have Billy D. Williams, Italian man named Skippy, or unicycle.
I'm sorry, Italian men named Skippy. Put me away, Avi. That's.
They sold the merchandise and merch.
They put their own sequels in the movie ahead of time.
Abolish the political parties.
I'll tell you this, Av, you definitely do your homework. Hey, like I said, the good thing about you're extremely prepared, much more prepared than most interviewers that I get.
Oh, where'd you get that book from?
Yeah, there we go.
That's my year book. That's
Yep.
amazing. I tell you what, you did your homework.
Did you have fun here in the green room?
Anytime you want me back, I'm here, brother.
I'm speechless after that. I'm trying to come down from the mountaintop. Prince used to say, we went to the mountaintop. Well, I'm still there.
Glad I filmed that, man. I saw everybody else was so hyped on your intros. I figured I better get that thing since it was live. That was excellent.
Thank you, Avi, and it's just amazing, this show. I'm growing. It's growing on me. It's growing on all America, North America, I think around the world. You've invented something amazing.
John Amos.
Man, what an introduction. I hope I can live up to that. God bless you. I'm prepared to take on this challenge of this wonderful monologue that you've written, and I couldn't think of anything I'd rather do after I read it again for maybe the third or fourth time. I wish that I'd had the time to commit it to memory because it deserves that. Giving me your thoughts and your input, because as I told you, that piece that you sent me is, I love good writing.
Holy cow, what an intro that was. I couldn't have said it better than myself.
Thank you, my friend. What an introduction, I'll tell you. It's amazing.
I've just been waiting on one of those introductions, and I was sitting there watching the opening of the show, seeing all these guys talk about, oh man, thank you, that was the greatest introduction we've ever had. And I'm sitting here, I'm saying to myself, please, I'm waiting on him to introduce me. I want to see exactly what they mean, and they didn't lie. Your mic skills are tremendous, player. I'm telling you right now, man, all I can say is what an honor.
Pleasure being here, man. It's an honor.
Whoa, dude. Yo, if I ever need to find somebody, just in general, I am calling you. That was incredible.
Yeah! Thank you for that great introduction. This is awesome.
This is how I feel about your introduction.
Rico!
Get it! Jerry Lucas, welcome, my friend.
Thank you, Avi, so very much. I appreciate what you've said.
Avi, thank you, man. That is quite the introduction. I've done a ton of these things, as you know. I've never had an intro like that. Kudos to you, man. It's an honor to be with you. Thanks for having me. I totally appreciate it.
Thank you. That's the best introduction I've ever heard in my life. You know something? You need to quit the show and be my moderator and travel with me.
I don't know what to say. I think you should write my own book like the intro. Would you do that again?
You're amazing, brother. I was always known as a good talker, but I don't know what the hell to say after listening to you. You're amazing.
Thanks, man. That was great. I love the introduction. Yeah, you go with me anywhere and introduce me. I appreciate that. That was the best introduction I ever had in my life, my career.
The Mad Stunt Man. Welcome, my friend.
Avi likes to move it.
Last name Smith. First name Joe. Joe Smith. Welcome, my friend.
Oh my God, Avi.
First name Ron. Ron, welcome, my friend.
Avi, I'm exhausted from listening to you.
I think that you've done a fabulous job, and I have not met an interviewer like you. Neither have I had some of these questions that really sort of went very deep into my heart.
I thought it was a really good time. It's about education and entertainment.
Man, I had a ball tonight, man. No lie.
I did. I enjoyed it immensely. It really got me thinking, and I really got a chance to meet a couple of fantastic guys.
Now, but my hats off to you. I could have stayed on for hours more. I love different topics. You letting us speak and just reaching other things we never ever spoke about.
Dude, absolutely. Oh my God, this was beyond expectations.
Yes,
I
sir.
love you. This is amazing.
Did you have fun, my
I really did, Avi. Thank you. It was great.
I had a great time. It was great. I mean, your intro for me was just awesome, but also the intro to the show was like, wow, you have all of these people. The only two people I want to beat right now is Rick Barry and Eddie Johnson. I'm coming for you.
really good discussion and the respect, and you're at the center of it all. And you really are terrific at this. I've never done anything remotely like this, and
I had a blast, man. This was absolutely phenomenal. I hope this takes off even bigger and better.
I had a wonderful time, Davi. You gave me good eargasm tonight, man. I love your voice. I love the things that you talk about, man, and the gift of gab you have. But you're great, my friend. Wonderful, wonderful, great. Love this show. Like I told you, it's almost like you're Chick Hearn reincarnated.
It's completely different. I mean, it's not like a podcast at all. Avi, the way you talk, you're amazing, brother.
This is different. I don't even know where you come up with these questions. You're so innovative. I love it, man, because it got me thinking. Man, this is beautiful. When you got a hangover, you can have some of these.
I've had a 32-year hangover watching the Knicks.
Is eargasm a word?
It is now.
You have something amazing going with the show but you're there and you're educating us. You're taking people from different eras, different disciplines. If you're taking us out of our comfort zone, you're making us fall in love with people that we didn't know.
No one will ever ad-lib like you. It is amazing, though, that everyone that comes on, they always say the same thing. How did you know all of that? That is just simply amazing.
That was one of the best introductions I've ever had in my entire life. Better than my bar mitzvah.
Perfect timing, tight as a drum. You find the balance.
Did you find the technique itself helpful when it came to observing your scene partner staying present instead of strictly relying upon memory?
That's a great question, Avi.
Ralph Cramden, the yoga instructor, or Don Corleone, the computer repair person?
I really enjoyed this, man. You're a smart guy, and you ask really good questions. And
Joe, welcome, my friend.
I think I have whiplash, Avi. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you very much. Oh!
Thank you so much, Avi. Good to be back.
What a hell of an introduction. That was cool, man. I don't even think Michael Buffer did it better than you, brother.
thank you, Avi. What an introduction. That was very impressive.
Stretch.
Yo, that was dope.
I appreciate
you better
it.
than a lot of these rappers out there.
I stand in awe of your memory and your ability to rhyme, and it's just amazing.
What an incredible introduction, Avi. That is probably the best introduction I've ever had.
Brother, I'm going to take you with me everywhere to get an introduction. That's the best introduction I've ever had in my life. I am so happy to be on this show.
I hope you didn't mind it. I filmed that intro you just did for me because I'm going to play that on my low self-esteem day.
Hey, Avi, how you doing? Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Jake Roberts, my friend.
Wow, that was scary.
How you doing?
Thank you, Avi. That was mind-blowing.
I love this. This is great. You got the intro down to a science, baby. That was great, man. Where'd you dig that all up? That's amazing.
Hey, Avi. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
It's great to be here and great to be back interviewed by you. It's been far too long.
Happy New Year.
Oh, you are so wonderful. Happy New Year to you. I am so grateful for our friendship. You appreciate things in people that make such a difference. You're quite wonderful. It's brilliant.
You made me laugh, too. It was great.
I think Alf would be wisecracking while the alien would be tearing everybody up apart, I guess. Let's talk about some of the 80s horror class. Eddie, welcome, my friend.
Well, thank you for having me, and I'm excited about it.
All of the actors and directors, different worlds come together. This is like a sanctuary for those people because we don't always get to talk about the things that really, truly move us. I love this show because it makes me feel.
Welcome to the green room.
How did you do that thing where you were talking so fast?
I don't know.
I very few people can do what you did. Well, the acting teacher here, 35 years, commends you on your ability to do that. I'm very impressed.
Man, I had a ball tonight. Nobody do it like my boy Avi.
I had a good time.
Because I've done podcasts in the past, and so what have you done and what are you going to be doing later? This is fantastic. I mean, this gets your juices going. You know, it gets you thinking. We had fun. You know, it's fun and it is education.
I definitely did. This was great.
It was intellectually stimulating, which is a unique thing in this world of ours today.
I had a fabulous time. Thanks for having me on the show.
And Avi, great job. This is interesting and different.
Question, did you have a good time, my friend, tonight?
I did. It's so unusual to be engaged in what everybody else is saying and to want to listen.
It was awesome. It was really great.
I want to compliment you on giving me my best introduction I've ever had in my whole life, too. That's the first thing.
Thank you.
Thank you. You said things about me that I don't even remember. And what a collection of
wonderful personalities you have.
And I really enjoyed every minute of it, man. Thank you so much for having me, and I'm just happy I made it to the next round.
Yeah, I had a great time. It was wonderful. I mean, it was so thought-provoking.
And you, Avi, I have a great deal of respect for your resume as well. I mean, I've done many interviews over the years, but this has been one of the most fun by far.
Well, thank you very much. I can't think of a better way to begin the new year than with you, with the wonderful people that you have surrounding you.
Did you have fun tonight, my friend?
Yes, I did. Yes.
Looking for
being around people who are willing and open. I like that.
I did have a good time. It was a lot different than what I thought it was going to be, and I really enjoyed it.
I appreciate you, and I appreciate the opportunity. It was exhilarating. Like Barry, I didn't know what to expect. I enjoyed it.
It's good to be able to see that you bring people together that, you know what, maybe one of the world's problems will get solved by listening to this show. And I want you to accept the accolades that you get from all of these brilliant people. They tell you that you're smart. They tell you that you're exposed. These are comments and compliments that you have to say, thank you very much, I accept.
Wasn't sure what to expect. You're number one in my book as far as putting on a podcast, knowing what you know.
You're terrific. I've never done something like this before, so it was fun.
No, you know what? You're a very interesting person. With all this rhyming stuff, you must really put a lot of effort into this. I would love to read or see something that you've written, because I'm sure it's really interesting.
Underrated and why? Sauerkraut, Henry Kissinger's deep soothing voice, or dogs wearing sweaters?
I like dogs wearing sweaters.
Great. Is teaching this craft as rewarding for you as performing it?
I think sometimes it's more rewarding. Where did you do your research? I'm very impressed.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun. You do a great job preparing.
A very simple formula. Everybody's a suspect.
I hope you're getting paid a lot. That was the greatest intro I think I've ever had.
The amount of stuff that you talked about that I don't even remember about myself, so impressive that I'm highly impressed. So I would give this a very high A.
It was like a high school reunion.
It's terrific, and it's fun, and keep bringing diverse personalities together. I think that's great, and it's also wonderful to hear people talk sanely to each other today.
What's up, Vic? How you doing, man? I like that introduction. Golly, I didn't know that stuff about myself. This is, I think, my top. I mean, because when you do the intro you gave me, I gotta give it to you. I like
you deserve it. Later on, you were able to get her cast on a series, and she received her SAG card.
Oh, I love you that you brought that up. I can't tell you how refreshing it is that somebody knows what they're doing.
What an honor to meet you. And
my
you're
pleasure.
great.
Oh, I enjoyed it.
Courtney, did you have a lot of fun too as well?
Oh, yeah.
I had a blast. This is a great show.
What a blast.
I had a great time tonight. Did you keep rhyming, man? Like I said, it gave like a battle rap, spoken word.
You know, usually I'll do interviews and get asked the same questions about Stephen King. This was great to talk about things that matter, that go beyond project.
Last name Johnson, first name Eddie.
Wow, when I have a retirement party, even at my funeral, you better show up.
Papa Smurf as a hip hop artist?
Yo, yeah.
You're very talented. That's amazing.
Mr. Sizemore, first name Tom. How are you, my friend? I could turn the volume lower if you'd like next time, if you'd like me to do that.
I don't know what I can do now.
First name Keith.
Oh my God, what a great introduction. Fantastic. You do your research. Connected with me right there. And he knows my brand. He nailed it. And now I know why. This is why your audiences love you. This is why you continue to great guests. And great guests beget great guests.
Joe, you've done a lot of these. You had fun, my friend, tonight?
Oh, I had a ball.
Well, you know, my friend, I had such a great time. Did you enjoy yourself tonight?
I enjoyed myself so much. Oh, man.
I had a blast. I didn't know what to expect. But meeting Joe, and we just had a phenomenal time. Everyone involved, I say thank you.
It's fabulous.
I'm excited.
Good. How you feeling, John?
Terrific.
Guys and gals and pals, here we are, Saturday Night Live. And if you're a fan of fiery, unbridled passion, then that intro says it all, as it can melt the South Pole. This place we call the Green Room is filled with edutainment and has plenty of heart and soul. It's time I listen to Stanislavski and take a beat as I process everything in real time. This is the 174th consecutive episode of the Green Room, a feeling that cannot be expressed through a mere rhyme. With a bevy of views on 53 plus pages on Facebook and YouTube week in and week out, Innovation is our name, and the sweat is the sweet. Dedication, labor, innovation only arrive when your effort is absolute. So put that in a tweet. And in this celebrity tournament that has captivated the masses, the field is one of a kind. Luminaries from all walks of life gathering to compete for the pride and the prize. This is truly a sport of the mind. Sure, the numbers are fantastic on 53 pages, not including my own, but what's even sweeter is the sweat. By that, I mean good old-fashioned work ethic, wholehearted passion, effort, and consistency never lead to regret. The good bard, Mr. Shakespeare, himself said our doubts are traitors and make us lose the good we oft might win by fearing to. And those words ring oh so true. It means that you are the author of your story. Don't edit your vision due to others that secretly prefer to boo while attempting to obstruct your view. With 13 grand and a trip to Greece and becoming the first champion of this star-studded field, a lot is on the line. But you, our audience, the engine that makes this thing go, are the sweet nectar that we appreciate like fine old wine. As strangers become friends and we all come together, let's remember that we are closer, all of us, than one might surmise. Limitless visions of innovative bliss, experienced by an ensemble, is the vision behind these eyes. Never hate the flower for starting out as a seed. Long distance running is essential. This isn't a stampede, so don't run anyone over on your way to the top. Focus on yourself and never forget to cheerlead. Root for your loved ones and lift people up. This human fortune cookie hopes that we have all agreed that positivity is something that we cannot ever concede. So with that, let's bring in our first celebrity judge. We have two, guys. Our first judges, guys and gals, one is from the green room. We know him very, very well. One of the most beautiful qualities of true friendship is to understand and also to be understood. I think we can all agree on that. Our first judge tonight is a special human being that is as humble as he is intelligent. And if learning never exhausts the mind, then trust me, you'll never be tired in his presence. He has a heart of gold, and whether it's in the ring or hosting D&D, the man has pushed himself to be the very best every single day. The man never takes his roses, so let's be sure to give him his bouquet. He's in round 2 of this star-studded tournament and might go all the way. His authenticity and honesty is where we all are privy, guys and gals, but we also are privy to his might. Rooting for him is always an honor because of who he is, so it always feels right. So put your hands together for the one and only Kelly White. Kelly, welcome, my friend.
Hey, Avi, good to be here on Saturday, the big green room day. We got 3 mystery competitors coming up, and got to say I'm real curious about who this is. I'm looking forward to it, man. Really am.
Yeah, as of tonight, again, we don't brag about numbers because numbers are numbers, but it's what they represent. We have 91 Hall of Famers from sports, wrestling, music, not to mention Oscar, Grammy, Tony, Emmy, Golden Globe, AMA, WGA, and Olympians all in this tournament, and they're quality people. It's not just about their name or their acclaim or the fame. It's what they represent. It's the message they put out there. And you, my friend, are in round number 2 as well. So I hope you enjoy the festivities tonight, Kelly White.
I absolutely am looking forward to it. And, it's nice to be able to check out my competition in these things. So,
absolutely, guys. And competitive camaraderie, I know this sounds sappy, but we all win at the end of the day because we do things in a civil manner. It's living room style conversations. We learn from one another. We listen. And that's the great thing about this is that, yes, guys and gals, philosophically speaking, we are fun. We are philosophically fun, and we enjoy that. So, guys and gals, our second judge that's going to come into this right now, this broadcast, who's also in round number 2. When I think of him, I think of the following quote. There is little that can withstand a man who can conquer himself. Without knowledge, action is useless, and knowledge without action is futile. When I think of the words knowledge, class, and respect, I think of the following person. His passion is unconditional and only takes a backseat to his compassion. Creativity takes courage, and this man is quite brave. As an incredible storyteller, he can show things that other people are terrified to express. He's become a friend and a brother, and a man that epitomizes the word sincere, and he absolutely loves his fam. His words, heart, spirit, and soul are as impactful as a roundhouse delivered by Jean-Claude Van Damme. If learning by doing is your thing, you don't even need a hall pass to observe how incredible he is as a teacher of this craft. Just watch his master class. Music, art, storytelling, family, values, principles, and talent cannot do justice when describing the essence of this terrific human being. Those who know him well are most definitely agreeing, but it's time for seeing. His presence will make a wall shake as we marvel at his gifts without worrying about the debris. So put your hands together for a brother, teacher, and a storyteller. Last name London, first name Jeremy. Welcome, my friend.
Hello, sir. I don't know about making the wall shake, but I'll try. I'll try to, I'll do my best.
You'll do your best. You told me, I've enjoyed. One of the cool things about this experience is, man, I consider you a brother. I consider you a friend.
Same, my friend.
But at the end of the day, it would be nice to win the entire thing. You're in round number 2.
Always.
Now it's ballooned to like over 100 people in this second round. Jeremy, you were impressive. Yeah, I mean, a lot of changes since then. But you told me this off screen as well. You still want to win the entire thing.
Yeah, of course. I think that we'd be silly not to want that. You know?
Absolutely.
I think who would want to be a part of, I mean, it would be fun to be a part of this regardless. But that's kind of like the icing on the cake, And what a wonderful opportunity to get to do something that actually feeds the brain rather than feeds like these like bad, you know what I'm trying to say. Like this is like something that's inspiring. It's something that we can put good energy into. It doesn't take energy away from you. I think that's what I was trying to say. Those other things kind of just are mindless things that take it away. You get to, it's like these it's a brain experiment almost, like and social experiment all wrapped up in one, and I love it. I
really appreciate the fact that you said that. I mean, working with the best, you become the best. I can say that about you. And really what we do here is positive. And again, who would have thought on a Saturday night, we can all sit here, learn about one another, go very deep into some topics we never really thought about. And at the end of the day, making some new friendships. And that's a good thing. So I love it, man. And I love that you're a huge part of it. Guys, once the segment is over, I'll talk to Jeremy because I have an announcement. Again, from London to you, Jeremy and I have already recorded a couple of episodes. We're going to go live on this entire network that has 70 different co-hosts. Aside from this tournament, 70 different co-hosts that have their own shows. Jeremy's one of them. I will put you backstage in a moment, momentarily, my friend. Mr. London, guys.
Glad to be here, my friend.
I am too, my friend. Thank you. He is class personified, and you're going to see Jeremy, guys, once all 3 of our luminaries, I know they're mystery competitors. You don't know who they are. You'll find out in a moment. But once all 3 of them finish their first topic, I will bring in the judges. They'll let you know who resonated most with them. And so will you in the comment section as well, guys and gals and pals. So with that, let me bring in our first participant, guys and gals. Music. Music washes away from the soul the dust of everyday life. Storytelling. Storytelling reveals meaning without committing the error of defining it. Our first participant is a man of honor, respect, dignity, and virtue. Time and again, he has filled a blank canvas with beautiful works of art, several layers of magnitude deep. He has found the similarity in what is apparently different, and then finding himself there in all of his roles. Do you know what that's called, guys and gals and pals? It's called honest and truthful storytelling. And through his works of art, we, the audience, have benefited greatly. Not to mention something that actually speaks to my heart as well. I'll tell you what that is right now. He was born and raised in Astoria, Queens, and I think we all know what that means. We come from the same borough, but long before becoming privy to this, I always enjoyed his scenes. His mother Maria came from the province of Avellino in the south of Italy, and his father Sal was from Palermo, Sicily. Soon he would find affinity in something called symphony, which through imagery would express our thoughts that begin as a soliloquy. His father was a Navy gunner in World War II, and he was awarded a Purple Heart. He secretly wanted to become an actor and singer during the days of Bing Crosby, James Stewart, and Humphrey Bogart. His parents would stomp grapes as they would make their own wine. He would stay up late watching movies featuring the aforementioned Bogart and Mitchum, whose works were quite fine. But there's more ahead, so stick with yours truly, Avi Klein. As a kid, his bedroom was like having a living room. It was like a living room, as his mom watched the black and white television set as he would wake up to the glare. His Walter Mitty mind back then couldn't help but stare, because as storytellers, this craft is our mistress. Might as well call it an affair. He always loved animals, as when he lived in Long Island, he had rabbits, ducks, and about 10 pigeons, and a dog named King. He loved music. He found out that he had a voice in the 8th grade, and soon, my gosh, this man could sing. He was encouraged to study opera, which he did, which led to the thought of pursuing the opera as opposed to the American song book. And yes, it most definitely took, as he started performing and placed first in the New York State Music Association contest as a voice soloist. That's work ethic and drive, plus a great outlook. He enjoyed language and reading during literature class, and he did a lot of plays in high school. The theater department had a replica of the Globe stage, which is pretty cool, as any theater student today would drool at such a sight, as these were the days where a storyteller acquires many a tool. He went to Hofstra, and upon finishing, went to Manhattan to study Stella Adler, and he did about 800 performances, which can blow any mind. Despite the grind, the lack of time to unwind, creative bliss is what he would find, because the true bind is being confined and blind rather than being aligned with our purpose that is not always designed. He received classical training with top vocal teachers Samuel Margolis, Daniel Ferro of Juilliard, and Tito Gabi. He was a baritone with the heart of a tenor, as his amazing voice could fill even up the mid-'80s LA Clippers arena lobby. Thankfully, his mother pushed him as a singer, as he harnessed his voice in a variety of mediums, including singing at Latin masses, which placed emphasis on the word hope. After all, in an Italian household, there are three figures that are very important: Tony Bennett, Sinatra, and the Pope. He was a fan of Sinatra and Bennett, along with John McCormick, and like all teenagers, he enjoyed the Beatles and would even, in concerts, perform Something and Hey Jude. He starred and co-starred in over 130 films, and even worked with Bob Dylan, performed with Tony Bennett, and dude, it doesn't get better than the following, which is something I must include as the prelude to this wonderful storytelling career, beginning with old Blue Eyes himself, Frank. That's right, Mr. Sinatra himself. Befriended him with his something worth more than capital or even making bank. 1977's Contract on Cherry Street, in which he appeared on screen together with Sinatra, led to a friendship and bond. And speaking of bond, I'm quite fond to correspond about a character that was fascinating as he attracted the femme fatales, many who were blonde. At the behest of his Little League coach, he first began reading Bond with On His Majesty's Secret Service. Who knew that years later he would depict such a mirror character to Bond? Many would have been nervous. He co-starred in The Goonies, a classic film directed by my mentor, Richard Donner. He played many strong characters that were antagonistic, and others were men of honor. With over 800 performances on stage before he even stepped in front of a camera, let's delve into some of his iconic roles. Opera singing heavy Jake Fratelli in The Goonies, James Bond villain Franz Sanchez in License to Kill, Police Deputy Chief Phil Heineman in Predator 2, Manager Al Torres in Showgirls, and Vietnam veteran and FBI Special Agent Johnson in Die Hard. Much like myself, he also has a deep respect and experience studying the works of the great bard. He was chosen by the United Nations to celebrate the transformative power of music at the General Assembly in New York in June 2015, and again for the 70th anniversary celebration of the UN in September 2015. He was chosen to tribute Sinatra's birthday, which had 15 million viewers, which was quite the sight to be seen. So let me now divert your attention, introduce a man that is kind, not curt, whether it's here or in a concert. His name I'm about to blurt. So put your hands together for one-of-a-kind human being. Last name Davi, first name Robert. Welcome, my friend, to the celebrity tournament.
Thank you. Thank you, Avi. It was quite a dissertation. Who was the guy you're talking about?
I'll bring it up. You have done so many remarkable things, and you need to take your roses because it's more than a performance. It's being able to inspire others to be able to get in touch with what is inside of them internally and figure out that maybe their purpose is to tell stories because at the end of the day, Robert, we're all storytellers.
That's what Shakespeare said.
That's right. That's right.
All of us are just merely players.
Getting to know you very quickly these last couple of weeks, it's been awesome. You are a class act, my friend. But again, a lot of luminaries over here. I have to ask you the magic question. You here to win the whole tournament, my friend?
I'm here to just express whatever I can maybe express and touch and hopefully resonate with whoever's listening to. The winning aspect of it is a nice caveat.
Sure.
But just having to, think about the questions you posed so that was yeah. So winning is always wonderful, but that's not the purpose. The purpose is the need to express oneself and communicate.
I brought this up to an exec, which we'll talk about later, actually, and he said to me, "What's the purpose of the tournament beyond the pride and the prize?" I said, "Well, when you win this entire thing, you can be proud of the fact that it represents something that's positive. It doesn't represent anything divisive, which is what we see today. So I'm glad that we're doing this tournament in such a way." Whereas it becomes like the Breakfast Club. We all get to know one another. We respect each other. At the end of the day, being able to hoist the trophy in the name of something that's positive, that gets me going. So I'm glad you're a part of this, my friend.
Thank you for having me, Avi.
Absolutely. Robert Davi, we're going to see him momentarily, guys, as I bring in our second participant. What a class act Robert is, and he's a real deal as a human being. It doesn't get more genuine than him. Guys and gals and pals, I'm looking forward to this second introduction because you all know I'm not just a basketball aficionado. I love it. But it's a sport in which you can't lie. You can't lie in basketball because it exposes character. This man has character. You want to talk about humility. You want to talk about someone who's confident in his own self and projects something positive outwardly that you could pick up on in 2 seconds. That's our next participant. Novelist George Orwell once famously said, at age 50, every man has the face he deserves. If true, then our next participant has piled up his fair share of merit. Real generosity towards the future lies in giving all to the present, and this man has done just that, as he's class personified. He's given much of himself to those in need, and his humble way of being is at the forefront of who he is. He is as positive as they come, and is a teacher, a fighter, a coach, a family man, and has a heart of gold. A heart of gold. Purple and gold, perhaps? His mother, Dorothy, moved the family from Ogden, Utah to Southern Cali. As an adult, he'd wow the masses from Inglewood to those in the valley, while he was knocking down trays or dunking on John Sally. When they were down, his team would always rally, as his beautiful encore poetry spoke to all, whether you spoke English, Russian, or even Bengali. His youth played out against a backdrop of violence as one of his friends got shot in the streets, while another was stabbed in a gang fight. But he would remain steadfast and unwavering, as regardless of his plight, he could see the light, despite obstacles in his way larger than a mid-'80s Bill Cartwright. His story would inspire any playwright, because his journey never sleeps at midnight. So sit upright and marvel, rejoice and excite, as I tell you about a man that never gave in to fright, which is as refreshing as a 2-liter bottle of Sprite. He took inspiration from his stepfather, Robert Marsh, who worked 2 jobs to make ends meet. Years later, in '85, he hoisted his first World Championship trophy in Boston Garden, which felt pretty sweet. But as a youngster, he took refuge on the basketball court at Darby Park, where genetics gave him an edge. The Forum became like a family, similar to those lyrics from the legendary Sister Sledge. His father, Alan Holmes, had been a junior college All-American in '58 and '59. His shot could age like fine wine. Despite being right-handed, as his father was a lefty, the mechanics of his shot were the same as his father's, which was mighty fine, which is why he would never ride the pine. He was a star who would always shine as he'd take you baseline to baseline. These are facts, not mere conjecture from yours truly, Avi Klein. When he arrived at Morningside as a 5'11" freshman, older teammates challenged him to dunk, a feat he never quite managed before. This wouldn't prove to be a chore. The man could do it all and would never bore. His teammates would roar as he began to soar and take off. At a dead sprint, he blindly jammed the ball through the hoop with as much conviction as a hammer held by Thor. This is no surprise, because when he was 11 years old, when he was beating guys that were 14 and 15 years old, one by one, he did it with grace. When he was 12 years old, while the rest of us were having fun, he told his parents and friends that he was going to be a pro basketball player. Soon his success would stun no one. At age 12, he walked down the stairs with his first trophy of many, as he ignored every naysayer. When his dad asked him what he would do if he didn't make it, he said, "I'll be a pro baseball player." He did play high school baseball, as he knew athletics would be a part of his life. Growing up, enjoying watching Jerry West and Bob McAdoo, who made his defenders, guys and gals, look like Barney Fife. In his senior year in high school, it came down to 3 schools, UCLA, UNLV, or Arizona State. He couldn't make up his mind, but when Wooden retired and Jim Herrick said the wrong thing, he knew his fate. Give it up to Jim Newman, the late former ASU men's basketball assistant coach and fellow Los Angeles native, who he would revere. As an ASU freshman, this future Laker legend would become Pac-10 Freshman of the Year. His future was bright, but his present would justify just about every single cheer. Right away, playing with a team that featured Alton Lister, Fat Lever, Sam Williams, and Kurt Nymphius, all future pros, this was one hell of a team. The happiest day ever came when he was drafted number 4 by the San Diego Clippers on June 28th, '83 in New York City. The Clippers? The early '80s? Chill out and relax. No need for pity. You see, his favorite team, the Lakers, called to tell him that they just made a trade. Despite challenges as a rookie, this man was never afraid, as he spoke up and played with an intensity that swayed his teammates, who went from Norm Nixon to this man who excelled each and every year there for a decade. 1984 NBA Finals, 1985 World Champion, 1987 World Champion, 1988 World Champion, 1989 NBA Finals, and 1991 NBA Finals, 1994 Eastern Conference Finals. Beat my Knicks. Oh, well, the following year they did. This man was truly allergic to losing, and even back then, Pat Riley knew he had what it took to become a great coach. He didn't consider it back then as a topic he would even broach. But boy, oh boy, despite becoming a star NBA player during the most competitive era of basketball, later on, did this man become a coach. 2008 in New Orleans, he was NBA Coach of the Year. Whether it was on the court or on the sidelines, his opponents were often reduced to an internal tier. He was the All-Star Game coach twice in 2002 and 2008, but his generosity and philanthropy is what makes him a superhero who's absolutely great. Former three-point leader, all-rookie first team, a retired Jersey in ASU Hall of Fame, mentor of the late Kobe Bryant during Kobe's rookie year, a former ESPN and ABC analyst, a co-author of the highly acclaimed Slam Dunk Success. There are so many accolades to list, but it is time to end this sentence with a dot. As I welcome a kind, humble, authentic, highly intelligent human being. First name Byron, last name Scott. Mr. Scott, welcome to the celebrity tournament, my friend.
Avi, that was unbelievable. Some of the stuff that you brought up, man, you know, you bringing back memories, man. That was fun to listen to. Very informative, man. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
Likewise, all the way, my friend. Thank you. And you are class personified. You've done so much. And, you know, the thing about you is you'll never bring it up, so I will. So if I embarrass you with all the great stuff you've done off the court, forgive me. But really, I mean, you have a passion to really inspire people. And it was funny because, like, you know, back then you didn't even think you could become a coach. And Larry Brown's like, yeah, you can. Are you glad you pursued coaching?
I am. I really am. And when you have, you know, Hall of Famer Larry Brown, you know, talking about you being a good coach, and Pat Riley was the first one that said that to me, as you mentioned, when I was 26 years old, and I thought he was crazy. But when you have those two guys, you know, saying that, you know, obviously they saw something in me that I just didn't see in myself at that particular time. So to go ahead and start really thinking about it and then eventually pursuing it, I am so happy and proud of myself for taking their advice and being smart enough to take their advice and get into the coaching fields. And I really enjoyed the coaching aspect of my career.
Yeah, and you did really, really well, not just as a coach and as a player, but like I said, off the court as well. You continue to do that. I did ask you a question earlier, and I'm going to get the response maybe later, but where can I find the Fountain of Youth, man? I need it, please. I need that Fountain of Youth, man.
Listen, when you're married to a beautiful Filipino woman who's a ex-fitness model and a registered nurse, and you know she stays on me every day for these past 10 years about drinking more water and eating healthier and working out.
Right.
You know, I guess that's kind of the answer right there. You got to find a beautiful person that can be your soulmate, and I found that in my wife Cecilia. And man, she just keeps me young. And the fact that I have 4 granddaughters and 2 of them are here tonight, you know, they keep me young too. I get to run around with them, even though they tire me out. But yeah, that's basically it. I'll be just, you know, I just work out and eat right with my my beautiful wife, and just try to keep up with her.
Well, you know what? There we go. Inspiration in the gym. Hey, we'll talk about this later, but there was inspiration in the gym when you met the person that you co-author a book with in the gym, actually, in the gym. That was pretty cool as well. Byron, I got to ask you this question as well. You know, you're a great competitor. This is going to be a lot of fun, but at the end of the day, only one person out of over 100 luminaries from all walks of life will win this thing. Are you here to win the entire tournament?
Avi, I don't get involved in nothing that I ain't trying to win. You know what I mean? I step on the basketball court, I want to win. I step on the golf course, I want to win. When I go work out with my buddy, you know, I want to lift more than him. I want to do more reps than him. And it ain't even about the prize. It's just about the pride, as you said earlier, of getting it done. The prize is great. You know, that's great. But the competitive nature in us as athletes, if we're playing for $1, you know, just as long as I can beat you and say I beat you and I took $1, that's all that matters to me. So I'm definitely in it to win it.
I love it, my friend. Guys, class personified, Mr. Byron Scott. I will put you backstage, sir.
Yes, sir.
We're going to see Byron and Robert Davi in about maybe a minute or two, guys, because our third participant is about to receive his introduction. And yes, just again, you hear me saying this time and again, you guys know that I'm very direct and honest, but also respectful. I can't think of, when I think of Robert Davi and Byron Scott and this next participant, again, just great human beings all around who are so humble by nature. When I thought of a quote for this man, I thought of the bard Shakespeare, who said, "This above all, to thine own self be true." Giving in today's day and age is quite a concept, isn't it? Well, can you imagine being surrounded by people that give and radiate truth, love, and authenticity? Because it starts with us. Are your surroundings in alignment with your objectives? Does the word yes beget fulfillment? There's a huge difference between surviving and thriving, and our third participant this evening thrives because he radiates the type of energy that is conducive to success. His stars are aligned, not solely due to his unbelievable resume, but much in large part to his outlook. His level of authenticity is not only refreshing, but appreciated. He's humble and puts everyone at ease with 2 words that are often not seen, heard, or witnessed jointly: kind and direct. As a confident man myself, I applaud him for his no BS approach to life. And I marvel at the fact that he not only sets goals, but attains them as well, due to his skill set, mindset, and commitment. He was born in Michigan, the son of Patricia and Alexander. Many would soon appreciate his approach to life, including his one-of-a-kind candor. His paternal grandparents, Alexander, Molly, Robert, and Leola, were born in Pennsylvania and Ohio. When he was a child, something supernatural took place as he started to grow. When he was 6 years old, his parents took him out and told him, "Don't be afraid of the household ghost named Ron." Give him credit, because if it were me, I wouldn't simply yawn. I'd be gone. I wouldn't simply be able to carry on. I'd call my buddy Sean, Don, or John and tell them to fly me out as far as possible, maybe even Taiwan or San Juan. Weird things started to happen, such as radios turning on without being plugged in. And they didn't even have a battery. Sounds like something out of the Twilight Zone or Rod Serling's other show, Night Gallery. His father was always open with him and would ask him the whys. Knowing your own truth is the best way to prevent an encounter with any lies. He would become an accomplished wrestler, boxer, and would not be someone you'd like to fight bare knuckle. But as a kid, as his sister joked, it was an accomplishment if anyone could get him to mildly chuckle. He was a very intelligent child and used his intellect to support his passion, such as comic books. He appreciated substance over style and wouldn't merely place emphasis on looks. His fascination with Greek mythology led him to debate other kids in school. Yeah, he was always cool, but he was always inquisitive and knowledgeable as his sense of wonder became his fuel. Fast forward, and he's already written a comic book and stories as well. The man has checked off many boxes because, hell, he's multifaceted. We aren't merely a story that society prefers to tell. He watched martial arts movies as a kid, and he knows, guys and gals, just about anything you can imagine when it comes to combat. He excels in martial arts. He watched pro wrestling as a kid, and he became one of the all-time greats. He enjoyed watching stand-up comedy, and now he's incredible on stage as a stand-up comic. Go after your biggest desire and develop. Maybe that's the key to staying happy. As I've told you all here before, forget cynicism, I'd rather be sappy. As a natural showmanship was evident in his youth, he could be seen jumping on a trampoline or off the diving board. If everyone was doing the flip and a half, he'd do too, which left many people floored, as this talent soared, as we all adored. A man that wasn't merely on some billboard, but someone that resonated with us because authenticity is something he never ignored. He started watching wrestling from WrestleMania, and he actually watched it in an arena and paid to watch it on a screen. Soon his vast array of talents would be seen, and something happened when he turned 19. He was set on breaking into the wrestling world as he had a one-track mind. He had a scholarship available and agreed with his father to go to college if he couldn't survive the grind. After graduating from Penfield High, the Panther graduate had a great physique and appreciated the technique of pro wrestling. And although his training was in Michigan, it wasn't in Battle Creek. When he was bagging groceries, a big guy told him to seek. So he was off to Lansing to train with the absolute legendary Sheik. On top of all this, he trained in martial arts at 2 Battle Creek-based dojos, Taekwondo, kickboxing, kendo, karate, the classes he took. In 1990, he contested the Kalamazoo Heavyweight Tough Man contest and emerged in the 2nd overall position, which to me is quite a story book. A promoter named Mr. Slinker told him that he resembled a certain Hollywood star and got him a tryout in WCW. This was 2 years into his career, so we're talking about 1992. From WCW to All Japan to a promotion that had its own chant and name on the marquee. I'm talking about ECW, so if you have any idea who this is, embrace the glee and scream like a banshee. Yell yippee. But let me indulge you in this mind-blowing professional accomplishments, which is about as lengthy as a redwood tree. Longest tenured ECW TV champion, 2-time ECW Tag Team Champion, ECW Hardcore Hall of Fame, a member of the 2021 WWE Hall of Fame, a Cauliflower Alley Club Luthez Award recipient, a TNA World Heavyweight Champion, PWI Most Popular Wrestler of the Year in 01 and 02, ranked number 1 of the 500 wrestlers in the PWI Wrestler of the Year in 02, a Grand Slam plus WWE Champion, as he's an ECW, WWE, Hardcore, European, Intercontinental, and Tag Team Champion, winner of the 2006 Money in the Bank. And in the Hammerstein Ballroom in New York City, he would pin WWE World Champion John Cena and become the company's world champ. The cheers proved to all suits and that everyone in his camp, as he was and is innovative and could always revamp. He invented a lift that involves performing a split, which he took up in his early teens, between 2 benches and lifting a dumbbell from the floor to the waist. It was approved by the International All-Around Weightlifting Association, which is yet another moment in which his legacy can be traced. Split-legged moonsault, 5-star frog splash, the Van Terminator, over 40 film TV credits are also to his name because this man keeps busy. This intro was a joy for me, not some unfulfilling job, because he deserves his roses, and you all concur. I can feel your tears of joy as many of you begin to sob. Did you also know that he's an aficionado when it comes to the mob? It's time for me to lob and welcome in a Hall of Fame human being talent who has a beautiful heart. Last name Van Dam, first name Rob. Rob Van Dam, welcome to the celebrity tournament, my friend.
Wow, dude. And that is amazingly everything that's happened in my life up till this moment right now. Thanks for covering it all.
Oh, you deserve every bit of it, my friend.
Whole damn intro right there. Whew.
Thank you so much.
That was hot, dude.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. Being one-track minded sometimes has a negative connotation, but not when you're trying to accomplish one singular task at a time. And that's what you've done. You've checked off every single box that you've tried to accomplish.
Hey man, I'm just living my own life and trying not to live anybody else's for them, and I hope they'll do the same.
I love that, man. I love that.
Boundaries,
Well,
we all got our own values. I'm sure we'll be tapping into that in this discussion. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, because nothing's a waste of time when you allow yourself to be mindful and present. Totally agree with you.
That's right.
Rob
Everyone
Van Dam?
is a teacher. Looking forward to learning and sharing and this whole experience. And boom, what an intro. So I get it now, dude. You're a man of words. You're a man of words. So that's good. I'm not good at giving short answers.
You're a man of heart and mind and soul. And brother, I got to ask you a question. It'd be nice. We're talking about luminaries from all walks of life. To be the one person, are you here to win the entire tournament, my friend?
Oh, I'm already definitely winning. I've already got my bags packed. I'm going to Greece, dude. I've been on my way to Greece since I first read about the Trojan War and the Odyssey. Yeah, I'm going to solve the maze of the labyrinth. I'm going to wrestle the Minotaur. I'm going to take the flight of Daedalus and Icarus. I'm going to swim the Adriatic Sea. I'm going to go to Parthenon to worship Athena. Yeah, absolutely, dude. I'm doing it all. I'm going to spend the night in the cave of Zeus where he was born. If I don't win, then the judges got it wrong. Let me just put it that way.
We got the judges, guys, are backstage as well. And speaking of backstage, let's bring in Mr. Byron Scott, Mr. Robert Davi. Let's bring them all on screen together. Robert, Rob, and Byron on screen together, guys and gals.
Hello, gentlemen.
What's up, gentlemen?
What's happening, guys? How you doing?
Happy New Year, if it's not too late to say that.
No,
too late?
Happy New Year.
All right.
Do we get like 2 more days? Come February 1st, does it become annoying now when people say Happy New Year in February? Is it kind of
It might. I mean, I'm starting to notice Christmas decorations that were out a little bit too long. I had to rescue Santa off a roof one time when I was a kid.
They're already putting Valentine's Day on the, around the stores.
That's right.
Hearts are out there. All the nice little rabbits are getting there. Easter is coming,
And the pressure to remind everyone you love. Right, Byron? I mean, the pressure to remind everyone you love them the most, like no other, on February 14th. Got to remind them that on February 14th.
You got to remind all the women in your life how much they mean to you, and that be wives, your wife, your mother, obviously, your grandmother, if you still have your grandmother here with us, your kids, your grandkids, which I have 4 granddaughters. So any woman that's in your life that is important to you, you got to let them know on Valentine's Day how much they are important to you and how much you love them, how much you care about them. And it's amazing that we show so much love, and Valentine's Day is one of the biggest, especially for flower stores. It's the biggest day of their lives. They get so much money on Valentine's Day, but you get Father's Day, we don't get a damn thing. I mean, we just a Father's Day card saying, "Hey, how you doing? Good job." But you know what? I love my mothers. I love, the ladies in my life. And I will definitely let them all know on Valentine's Day how much I care about them, how much they mean to me.
Byron, I've got 6 daughters, Byron.
Oh, Robert, you in trouble, man. There's no toilet paper in your house, man. I mean,
or bathroom time at all, guys and gals.
Oh my God, you got 6 daughters, Robert. Oh my God.
From 4 to 34.
4 to 34. That's incredible.
4, 17, 19, 22, 32, 34.
You know what? Avi, as much as I want to win this, I want Robert to win now, man. He got 6 daughters. He need a vacation, man. He need to go to Europe with them, man.
I got a great wife. She's a great mom.
As much as I want to win, man.
And Rob's got a cool Queen story as well. Man. You guys all have amazing stories, man.
A Queen story? Is that what you said? I have a Queen story? Yeah,
a great story.
Queen. Oh, hey, well, if I can, I don't want to interrupt anybody, but I also always, I have a one-of-a-kind perspective, so I'm always thinking different than basic thinkers. But I've always felt that Valentine's Day also puts a lot of pressure on people that might not be in a relationship at that moment. And then all of a sudden, it's like everyone's, it's society pointing at you saying, look, you're all alone. And so, I think that there's that too. And I'm not trying to put a dark image on it, but I'm saying that's the other side to it. And I've always felt like that. And I let my wife and my girlfriend know I love them. So
that's beautiful. Every day's a Valentine's Day. I love that. And guys and gals, again, there's a lot of love here already, which I love. I love the love that we actually see here, which is pretty cool. Right now, we're going to get into topic number 1, and this is going to be fun because it's a topic I call "What's in a Dream." And as I was writing this topic down, it occurred to me that, you know, a lot of people are asking, why do people dream? And it's a question for the ages, and no one has the answer. But there are a lot of experts that don't know about why people dream and where dreams come from. However, the prevailing theory is that dreaming helps you consolidate and analyze memories like skills and habits, and likely serves as a rehearsal for variations of situations you might have. The great English romantic poet William Wordsworth had a startling concept about dreams. He said, "This life we live is merely a dream, and that we will awake to the real reality. But what if we hold on for a bit longer? And what if in dreams the ideal setting, location, time, and person is there, right there, before us, someone we could hold and touch and value?" Robert, guys and gals, will begin and will let us know who he has selected as the ideal person, along with a location and date that he would like to have a conversation with in a dream, and why. Yeah. And when Robert is finished, it'll be Byron, and then Rob. Mr. Robert Davi, are you ready to go, good sir?
Yes, yes, I am. I'd like to also then, since you're such a fan of the bards, I'd like to, Hamlet had something to say about dreams. You know, when he was doing to be or not to be, that is the question. Whether it is nobler in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against the sea of troubles, and by opposing end them. To die, to sleep no more. To sleep, perchance to dream. Aye, there's the rub, for in that sleep of death what dreams may come, when we have shuffled off this mortal coil. Anyway, so Bart has talked a lot about dreams. And
that was awesome. That was really
I grew up, you mentioned my mom. My mom was also the head of confraternity for Long Island in New York. And my dad was a sacristan in the church, besides doing three jobs. Also, when I was 16, I was cured by a man named Padre Pio, who's a saint today, who had the stigmata of Christ. So with that background, when you say who and what time and place, you know, there's so many other areas that I could go to, but I have to go to the apex, the alpha and the omega, which is Christ. And the moment is the resurrection, when the tomb opened and he walked out. And it would be, which is now in Old Jerusalem, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. And that would be, I guess, the person I would like to come to in my dream and experience that moment and have a conversation with him. Because if we think of a lot of the world's problems and the division in the world, and there's a lot of that, it comes from that aspect. It comes from, did it happen? Did it not happen? And to have been there, to experience that moment, which no one did, they did afterwards, but to be at that exact moment of the resurrection, of when that tomb opened up, that would be something I would love to do and have a congregation. You know, it's as simple as that, to experience that moment. And I don't think any conversation would be needed, because what do you say at that moment? It's just an awe-inspiring, especially for someone like myself, because it then, any doubt one may have would be quelched at that moment, and you wouldn't need any conversation. You'd just fall to your knees and have a prayer. So that's simply what it would be. And you can ask him, because there was a film by Martin Scorsese, a book written by Nikos Kazantzakis called The Last Temptation of Christ. And I studied Nikos Kazantzakis, who was a great writer. He used to go to Mount Athos in Greece, which is still there today. There are 11, 12 monasteries, beautiful monasteries. And no female has ever walked on that plateau. It's been for the monks. And they pray all day long and live. But Nikos Kazantzakis used to go there, and he used to pray on this, and he wrote a book called The Spiritual Exercises of Nikos Kazantzakis. And when they were making The Last Temptation of Christ, of which I did read and saw the film, it says the last temptation of Christ is as he's on the cross, he has the temptation of being able to become man and have a family, to give up the cross, to come down and live an old age. That's his last temptation. And I had this conversation with Marty Scorsese when he was making that film, because I was up for the part of Judas, but he had worked with Harvey Keitel many times. And that's how he said to me at the moment, he says, you know, would you like to play one of the other characters? I said, it would be, you know, the Judas character would be interesting. And I said, Marty, do you ever think about the last temptation would be if God-man is on the crucifix, if he's on the crucifix, and it's that moment when he says, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Do you not think for a moment, all powerful, he would say, remove the nails from my hands and 200,000 angels come and destroy the Roman Empire? That to me would be the last temptation of Christ. And that moment of resurrection, because he knew, because you couldn't stop the crucifixion. You couldn't say, how do we stop this? It wasn't, it was ordained. And the resurrection, now you can be witness to that moment, which I think would be just, I'd probably go into the religious life if that happened to me, if I had that dream.
Thank you for sharing your heart, man. That's very powerful and very deep and very personal. And you shared it here on a platform with a ton of us watching and listening. So thank you for that.
I hope it's not, you know, I hope it's not, it's
your heart.
I don't know if I'm supposed to be entertaining or not. I just have to go with my truth.
No. And as a storyteller, you know the answer to that already, then, Robert. You're supposed to be honest and truthful, and that's what you are, and we appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you for being who you are. I was supposed to actually pen and also shoot a documentary for Sony years ago called The Great Fire of Rome, which happened in the year 64. I won't delve into that, but there's a lot of things you brought up that reminded me of my own research. Thank you for giving us your heart again. I really, really appreciate that. Guys and gals and pals, I'm now going to kick it over to Mr. Byron Scott, who will let us know who he has selected as the ideal person, along with the location and date, that he'd like to have a conversation with in a dream, and why. Are you ready to go, good sir?
Yeah. Before I go on, to just thank Robert, because that was fantastic, Robert. That was beautiful, to be honest with you. The man I chosen is a man that I met way back in the day. But if I could bring him back and have a conversation and kind of sit down with him and kind of really get into his head on some of the things that he did back in his day, was Muhammad Ali. It was a point in time in his career where he was stripped of his world championship because he wouldn't go to the war and fight, and he had some great reasons of going. He said, they never done nothing to me, so why I'm gonna go over there fight over there for you when you won't fight over here for me as an African American? So I would love to just really sit down with him. It would have been an honor to sit down with Muhammad Ali and just try to really get into his mind on why he became a Muslim, number one, because I knew he grew up in Ohio, why he chose to become a Muslim, and number two, why he took some of the stands that he took at that particular time. Because at the time when you had guys like Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, athletes all of a sudden started standing up for what they believe was right, like Muhammad Ali and Bill Russell and Jim Brown. It wasn't a time at that particular time to really stand up and be heard. Because when you did, as we know, a lot of times you didn't live very long. So for Muhammad Ali to take that stand, not to go to war over something that he had nothing to do with, but also as just an athlete, to stand up for his rights and speak out. Because again, our athletes back then, we did not do, we stayed out of politics. We stayed out of anything other than what we did, which was basketball for me, or football or baseball. We never wanted to get involved in the politics or anything like that because of the fear of the negative publicity and the negative image that we would all of a sudden be thought of. So I would love to just sit down and pick his brain on why he felt so strongly about it, because what he really did along with Jim Brown and Bill Russell. There's still a great picture of those guys that I just mentioned, along with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, standing together, talking about human rights and just being treated fairly is the thing that Malcolm and Martin Luther King talked about all the time. We didn't want to be treated special. We just wanted to be treated like everybody else. So, it would have been fun, I think, for me, because I know with Muhammad Ali, there would have been some serious times, and then there would have been some playful times because he was a character. And the time that he did come in our locker room, this was way after he retired from boxing. He did a magic trick for us that was unbelievable. He kind of elevated, and I nobody in that locker room, myself, Magic, everybody in that locker, we still coop. Nobody knew how he did that, but he was just one of those guys that was just very entertaining. And I think having a sit-down conversation with him for a few hours would have been mind-boggling.
Wow, thank you, Byron, again for really educating us on some of the things that I think our youth should know. And without getting on a soapbox, the reason I stopped teaching U.S. history many moons ago was because some of the heroes that, again, are being sort of, I guess, brushed under the rug are not being brought up.
Right.
It's really a shame. It's a shame because one of my friends, and she's still with us, is Diane Nash, and she's one of the last original freedom writers. She's still with us. She still gives speeches. When I asked to actually have her in class, they didn't want her there. And I'm like, I felt disrespected that you're actually taking someone who not only witnessed history, was a part of history, and did something for the betterment of everyone, not just her own self, by risking her own livelihood. And I realized, we couldn't talk about the Buffalo Soldiers. I couldn't talk about. So the real history gets swept under the rug many a times. And I appreciate you bringing that up because a lot of people might say, well, wait a minute. It's a double standard. Sometimes people will say that the athlete needs to shut up and just play sports. But then when they do that, they get blamed for just counting their checks. So which one is it, guys?
Right, exactly.
Which one is it?
Exactly.
Are we allowed to chime in on this? Or?
Yes, absolutely, Robert.
Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Byron, you don't know this. My cousin was Richie Giacchetti.
Okay.
Richie Giacchetti managed and trained Larry Holmes, Aaron Pryor, Michael Dokes, Mike Tyson. He put Don King into boxing.
Wow.
He was in Ali's training camp for many years. He was in the Rumble in the Jungle. He was there. The only white guy. Babuto said, "What's he doing here?" And Don King said, "He's one of us." Now, I met Muhammad Ali several times, and it was a marvelous. I'm sure you have. And when he was Muslim, he gave you the pamphlet, and he would talk about Allah, and he would talk about peace, and that's what his whole mission was. And you could feel that coming from the love coming from this man who was a gentle giant, but a monster in the ring.
Right.
It was just so inspiring. And I was sitting at a table. You'll get a kick out of this. I think it was Caesar's Palace for one of the big fights. And I was in the thing with, I think it was Ken Norton, George Foreman.
Oh, wow.
Joe Frazier.
Best heavyweights of the time. And
Ali comes walking by and he goes, "What are you guys all cooking up?" Sitting there with my cousin, and George Foreman's, "We're talking about coming out of retirement." And Ali pauses for a second and looks at them. And this is several years before Foreman did. And Ali goes, "That would be a great dream. That would be a great dream."
Went until 81. But you brought this up, Robert, and I'm going to address you now because you brought something up that really spoke to me too. Why are we not so involved? And it's because we invest in strange things today. And it's stranger because many generations ago, the goal was to invest in the infrastructure, right? To build the country, invest in schools, build the people. But we're not doing that. We're just fighting each other right now. We're preoccupied with this fight and with these crazy divisions within our country. And we'll never be able to focus the energy and resources we need in order to fix any problem we have. And we'll slide through this for another couple of generations because the country overall is very wealthy. So we have this residual wealth. But we've exploited everybody around the world for hundreds of years, and we've sucked everything into the U.S., and that stuff is getting sucked out. Resources are getting concentrated, but in very few hands, and that doesn't look good for us.
No, it doesn't. And I think my wingman comment is going to answer some of that for you. So I'll save that part of it for the wingman.
Yes, guys, wingman, we got a nice topic, a little levity there for wingman. I'm going to throw it over right now, guys, to a man who's class personified. And again, always will be direct and truthful and honest. Mr. Rob Van Dam, who will let us know who he has selected as the ideal person, along with the location and the date that he would like to have a conversation with in a dream, and why. Are you ready to go, good sir?
I am, and hopefully you'll accept the answers I came up with, because I wanted to, in a dream scenario, probably couldn't happen anywhere else. I wanted to go straight to the source of all my questions and talk to God. And it's just in a park in California. It's a beautiful day out. We're sitting on a picnic table. Maybe for part of it, we get up in the tree, and I'd be able to look at God and hold him, because he'd be Yoda in my dream, the smartest man of my existence. If I can use Barbie as an example, she looks like Yoda. But, you know, I would say, God, like, why the variance in values? Why do we all think so differently, and we all think we're right, and we're so far off from each other that it's a constant struggle to even get along with ourselves? And you know, why is there so much hate? Is it about, is it about competition and being the progressive and getting ahead and being the early bird to get the worm and getting that shot before someone else gets it? Or is it about community, togetherness, moving in a hopefully same direction, in a bigger, much more positive kind of movement? And I would just want to ask that, and I get a little more personal. I'd say, you know, why is it that when we look at everyone else, we think that we're above them? And we all do, because we think that our values are the best. Everybody thinks that, and we all say we don't judge people, but we do. We judge people that have different values than us, but we don't all have matching values, and so we fight over stupid things and take pride in things that shouldn't matter. And why is it that I feel like I am so much above everyone else, and I look at like a basic thinker? Like, why do is it pompous? Is it like, is it my ego that makes me think that basic people are just followers that have no empathy, and that it's not normal to even think about what someone else is going through anymore? And is that like something in my head, or does everybody think that way? And I'd really want to be able to hear God say, I hope his answer would be, smart one you are. But I can't do a Yoda impression. But smart one you are.
Neither could I. I can't do a Yoda impression.
Smart one you are. Yeah, I don't know.
Your dog's name again is
Barbie.
Dead ringer for Yoda. Dead ringer.
Thank you.
Dead ringer.
Not very photogenic sometimes because she's all black, so it doesn't show up in photos a lot of times. It'll just, if anyone has a black-faced dog, I think they can relate. But yeah, I'm glad you got a good shot of her and the lighting was okay. And yeah, thanks for standing in for God, baby. Girl.
Look at that. And, you know, you brought up a really good point, because, you know, we're talking about struggle and conflict. Avoiding a fight is a mark of honor a lot of times.
Yeah.
It's avoiding the fight that's a mark of honor, because when you're nice, your loyalty lasts far longer than it should, because sometimes people have loyalty that expires. So it's really, really awesome that I think you're able to put that stuff away, Rob, because when you quit trying to convince someone to understand who you are, it's much more beneficial, because they're already determined to misunderstand you from Jump Street. A lot of people are. So you're not going to convince them anyway. Just let it go. I love that. I love your passion.
Many times that's the case, but if a lot of other people are listening, it's worth having that conversation for the benefit of everybody else to to hear it and to maybe get educated on it. And something else I wanted to ask God was why does emotion come out and completely block logic from getting in the way when we need it the most?
A challenge of life, perhaps. Maybe that's something we have to wrestle with every day. It's almost like because you're right. There's a contrast there, and maybe it shouldn't be easy for us, Rob. Maybe I'm just my own opinion. Maybe it should be a struggle. Maybe it should be a challenge. Maybe we should get it when we're 99 on our deathbed and like, oh, aha, but then we're gone.
That's why, and I didn't mention this, but the time would be today in the California park in my dream. It would be today. I wouldn't want to go back in time because of what you just said. I've learned so much up till this point.
Sure.
If I look back, I see a much lesser me, and I'm not proud of that. It's just the way it is, the way that life happens when we're growing. And if you don't see that, then you probably haven't had any growth.
Hey, Rob, but don't you think also if you went back in that time with what you know now, you would be better as a person because of the things that you've already experienced and the things that you've already went through? Let's just say 20 years. If you went back to yourself 20 years ago and you still know what you know now, you would probably be a much better person because of all the pitfalls that you went through then. You wouldn't make those same mistakes now because, you've grown and you learned and you've been through that situation. So I think it can kind of go both ways.
Well, with the factor that I would know what I know now, because going back in time, I just think about being younger, being stupider, because I couldn't have learned everything I learned from any way except for experience. A lot of it firsthand experience, and even the secondhand experience I picked up. Like, if I had to give that up to go back in time, forget about it.
No, I'm not saying give it up. I'm saying use that experience that you learned.
Put me on a loop. Put me on a loop. I'll just keep going. Yeah,
there you go.
Get better every time.
I love it.
It seems to be the way of who we are as human beings. We're given free will, expelled out of the Garden of Eden for whatever, if you want to believe. So that process of our own evolution, there's a French philosopher called Teilhard de Chardin, who's a Jesuit. He wrote The Divine Milieu, The Heart of the Matter, and The Phenomenology of Man. He was silenced by the church in the 1950s, and he's taught in the universities and now he's been taught since the 70s and 80s. And he coined the phrase, the cosmic Christ, meaning we are all connected, going to the Alpha and Omega idea. We all connected. Each individual is connected through God, through Christ. And the pendulum of mankind, if you think of the center point being the perfect man, God made man, Jesus Christ, our Lord. Mm-hmm. If you think of that as the center point of our growth, the pendulum swings over the decades, over the hundreds of years. But as it swings, it never gets as far this or far that. And it slows down to a certain point. So this way, over time, it'll slow down and we then unite with Christ as one. Mm-hmm. And that was his whole philosophy, very interesting philosophy that he talked about. So this internal growth, while it seems we're making the same mistakes, man is progressing. We are progressing in different ways. And there's as much strife as there has always been. If you read any of the biblical histories, it's all there, as we all know. So it's very interesting on that. Yeah.
And I wish that thought wasn't responsible for all or most of the suffering we experience, because it starts with thought. Everything starts with thought. A good idea comes with thought. Good intent comes with thought, but so does bad intent as well, and jealousy and envy and all these things that were, for all we know, not us, but there are people that could be watching this right now going, oh, why did he make so much sense? Why are they on a platform which they can resonate with people? Because I think the thought that we have, that struggle we have to agree with one another, almost takes away from some people. That's the issue. It's like, why can't we sit down here and just go, everything that Rob just said speaks to me wholeheartedly without the but. Mm-hmm. Because you challenged me. You provoked my mind enough to think. And then once we think a bit too deeply, it becomes personal. And that's where ego sets in. So it's this
what also happens, though, is the societal needs and the the differences start to eat away at the essence, and the manufactured crises of our differences start to happen. And then it's a continued treadmill of disaffection for each other that's fed by a beast. I don't know where that beast is or where that beast does that, but it does that.
Sure.
And that's the issue, that the general populace be able to say, okay, we understand that now. How do we go beyond this?
I think that could be applied short term, even just to conversation. Like it becomes the societal goal to try to meet on common grounds for no purpose. You know what I mean? Like you sit down and you say something like, hey, wow, we drove all the way from Kentucky. And then, hey, my cousins are from Kentucky. Who cares? But it's like, it's that need that he's talking about.
Bringing it together.
It's like, boom, yeah, we got to meet on that, find that commonality so we can see how joined we are, and instead of just feeling it through the web of energy.
I hope in our lifetime that does happen. But I think one of the things that we haven't mentioned is fear, and fear is one of the biggest components of that not happening. People are afraid to get to know each other for whatever reason. For whatever reason, being it skin color or whatever it might be. People are afraid to really just sit down and get to know each other because of fear, and that's kind of been, for many years. We've always had societies and different communities that had that fear of really trying to understand the person that
fear of difference.
Yeah, look different than them or acts different than them. That fear of why they and instead of just like we said earlier, just kind of taking that and saying, okay, that person's just different. It doesn't make them a bad person. Let's sit down and let's see, if we can have a conversation. But the fear of the differences, I think, is the biggest reason that we have in the division that we have, especially in our country right
They don't match my values, or they would be like me, right?
But that happens even in homogenous societies, though. Even in a homogenous society, you have this thing, the American experiment, which was e pluribus unum, through many one, and a commonality of purpose and language, culture, everything else. That idea, which has now been frayed in many different aspects, and it's being used to cause divisiveness instead of unity.
Right.
And bringing up, look, you can't think about, you mentioned Muhammad Ali, of course, and you mentioned the whole thing. I remember growing up. Now, I grew up in a family, we didn't have a prejudice. Italians were considered lower and dirtier than the Negro in 1906 by the New York Times. Many Italians hung. Sinatra was a big proponent of, the first real big star to come out against anti-Semitism and racial bigotry. As every kind of cultural thing comes in, and this happens, okay? This all happens. But what you found was when I grew up, things seemed to be getting better. You had Martin Luther King, and I thought as a young man, when that funeral of Martin Luther King happened, and I'm watching in a little black and white television set I don't know how old I was, 11 or 12, 15, I don't know. It was two mules pulling a wooden rickety cart, and in that cart was a pine box. And I thought to myself, in that pine box is the totality of the human struggle, and behind them, a sea of people following this whole procession. We're either going to pull it apart or we're going to pull it together. And what's happened now, over the last several years or whatever, we're pulling it apart. It seems, in a way. It seems, and even so, it's strange. And I think, not to get into the global idea of what the agenda is. There's a global agenda of who knows what that probably helps feed some of this dissension within our own nation. Progress that we had made.
You're right. And what Byron had mentioned about fear as well, like fear should not be a distant neighbor of acceptance, because you may be afraid of doing something because you don't want to be accepted, or you won't be accepted because you're doing something that's different. But that's how you inspire. That's how you inspire through innovation, not for the sake of innovation, but because it's in your heart. And sometimes sometimes people have told me, man, I wish I could have done this when I was 20. I'm like, why didn't you? Fear. So you brought that up. That really resonates with everybody, Byron. Thank you. Guys, Byron Scott, Robert Davi, Rob Van Dam, talking about fear. I have fear, but my fear right now is going to be quelled because I'm not voting. I'm monitoring. We got the judges. They got some fear in the back. Because how are you going to vote? Who resonated most with you? Let's bring in my good friend, Mr. Jeremy London. Jeremy, this is going to be real tough, my friend.
This feels almost cruel, having to do this.
And that we have to watch you and look at you.
Right, right.
Oh
I could see if it was anonymous.
Hey, Jerry.
I love all of you. Love you all. You know, these answers, all of them were so incredible. You know, Robert and Byron talked about these men that helped us elevate ourselves, you know, helped other people. You know, Muhammad Ali was a real man. He lived. I believe Jesus was a real man that lived. And but Rob's conversation is the one that makes it's the reason that I have a hard time believing, and the existential issues that I have with saying why are there so many problems in this world? Why is there child cancer? Why is the number one reason people kill each other globally over whose God they choose to believe in and how they choose to believe? And you know, and so I struggled there because I grew up, my dad was a Southern Baptist preacher. I grew up in the church. I'm not, you know, disconnected from the church by any means. I believe in God. So all of these things, you know, make me, you know, sort of, it really is a deep thought of, like, you know, how to approach this question. And I thought all of you did such an amazing job, and you made this incredibly difficult. I can tell you, Mr. Davi made me cry. And I didn't see that happening. As non-religious as I am, the fact that I saw your heart in that moment, because see, I would want that to happen to me, because I need to know if that's, you know what I mean, if that's real, because that is an existential issue I have in my life. But you already, what I loved about your answer is that it's like you already know, you just want to be there and have that confirmation and be able to enjoy that moment, because you know that it happened and you can just sense it and feel it. And the Shakespeare didn't hurt. Let's be honest. That was a nice flair, sir. All of it. Guys, you know, I love all of these answers, and they all make sense. But Mr. Davi made me cry, and so I think I have to go with him.
Mr. Jeremy London, thank you again for your heart, my good friend. Guys, Jeremy, from London to you, is a teacher of this great craft, and we, as teachers of storytelling and acting, we both have great conversations. But the great thing about having conversations about storytelling is we're talking about humanity at large, and that's great, because that means it's all of you, the engine that makes this thing go. And as you know, guys and gals and pals, your comments are beautiful. Your comments are amazing. We're reading them. They're intelligent. They're thought-provoking. They're deep. Jeremy, you know this about our audience, man. We've got a really cool audience over here, man.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. And I'm beyond honored to be a part of all of this. And once again, you know, it's impossible to say one was better than the other. If I just had to pick, I got to go with the guy that made me cry. That's the only reason I had to go with that. All of the answers were wonderful, and I love all of you guys. And this has been, you know, enthralling for me to watch as
it's
a
mutual, brother. And this is topic
one.
one.
Audience as well. Yeah.
Yeah. We got two more to go.
That's what I was looking at the time, and we're at an hour and 38, and it doesn't feel like it. It doesn't feel like it, you know.
No, it's never happened before, but like I forgot.
To be able to
it's rare
to have this type of interaction with people that not only that you admire, but people that all, you know, that deep thinkers and people that I like to see that I'm not alone on this, you know,
to be able to share that,
of
right?
trying
In today's
yeah.
day and age where you have to watch every little step you take, everything's got to be so precise and careful. A quick shout out, guys, to again someone from the studio who's watching. Michael, thank you for believing in all of us. I know you're a fan of Mr. Robert Davi, who's here today, and of course Rob Van Dam, Byron Scott, and Jeremy. So again, thank you for watching us, guys. Thanks for believing in the show. Last year you didn't, now you do. Thank you. It's all because of these incredible talents that are giving us their time, mind, and soul, and heart. Jeremy, thank you, my friend. I will bring you right back up after topic 2. Jeremy London, guys and gals. Let me bring in Mr. Kelly White. Again, hate to be so formal about this and say you're judging, but who resonated most with you, good sir?
Okay. Wow. Yeah, I've got to go. As Jeremy said, this one is extremely tough. I did not expect topic 1 to go in this direction, to go in this deep from all 3 of you. Everyone did an amazing job with what they brought to the table. But I do have to pick somebody.
Yep.
And resonating, just to touch on a few things, Robert, I could totally see, you know, why you would want to go there. I mean, and it was extremely touching. It was well delivered. I just personally wonder if faith confirmed remains faith. It makes me question the decision a little bit. Byron, you know, you met Muhammad Ali. You wanted to go back and, in effect, you know, at a certain time and pick his brain about why he changed his name, gave up the title, left the country purely for his beliefs at that time. You know, that resonated with me. Rob, Y2K, I got you. Your dog did a stand-in for God. That was an awesome play. I liked it. But by the same token, just
they got to put that in the screenplay. That's great.
I think it'd make a great screenplay. But again, just, you know, going to the man and just getting the answers almost seems like cheating the journey a little bit to me. So just for keeping it real, again, everyone was wonderful, but I got to tip my hat to Mr. Byron Scott on this one.
Byron Scott, Kelly White, thank you again. And guys, again, I know how lame this sounds because when everyone says we're all winners, no, I mean that though. We are, because we're learning, like you're sitting down here in your living room on a Saturday night, and edutainment at its finest. We're listening to one another, and we're learning and hopefully growing and taking some, if not all, of some of these lessons and experiences that these gentlemen and luminaries are providing us in real time. Guys, topic number 2 is called Hanging with History, because
Avi, can I say something real quick?
Yes,
I just thought that was kind of profound what he said about if faith is confirmed, is it faith, right? And I think the answer is easy, but so what? I mean, so no, because if faith is believing in something without proof, and now you got proof, then no, it's not faith. But is that a bad thing that you replaced evidence-less hopes with actual proof? I don't know if that's doesn't make it any worse. I don't think
having confirmation. I'm gonna ask you this, Rob, in your opinion, having confirmation, is that a part of faith? Does faith beget confirmation? Other way around?
There's knowledge of God. There was a great philosopher, and I was going to talk to Kelly. I was going to mention to Kelly. There's a philosopher, William James, who would one day believe in God, and the next day wouldn't believe in God. Believe in God, not believe in God. And he was at the point of he was going to commit suicide. And there was a moment when he received knowledge of God. There's a knowledge of God that you receive, I believe, that goes beyond faith, or beyond. You can believe in the Easter Bunny till you're 8 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old. But there's a knowledge of God that's different, that separates that from the idea of faith in a certain way. So to bring that up, Rob, I'm glad you brought that statement up, because it had resonated. I wanted to mention something to that effect. Yeah, there's something in that.
Yeah, so I think I hear what you're saying, but I don't think that I can speak to that firsthand. So it sounds like you're saying that that there's something almost magical that happens that still isn't within the boundaries of faith, but it's proof, it's evident? Or is it just a choice to believe? And do we really choose what we believe, or is that just what makes most sense to us based on our own values?
That's interesting.
If you go throughout the Bible, even Moses, Moses had to bang the stick 3 times. He was told, go to this spot. And I mean, we have lessons on that. Now, people say, oh, that's a storybook, or it's not historical, or, many different things. But the deeper I've gone into it, I don't know, have you been to Jerusalem? Have you been to the Holy Land? When you go there, it's a different horse.
Fascinating. Yeah, it's something.
It's something,
Energy is definitely different there.
And there is a, again, it goes beyond faith for me.
Well, I was going to say this because, moving on to topic number 2, again, a great discussion here. We were bringing up some people who were very inspirational. Martin Luther King Jr. is one of them. And he always said faith is taking the first step, even when you don't see the whole staircase. Yeah. And that's really interesting, too. That means you're not giving anything up, but you're actually telling yourself that you're willing to go the extra mile for something you don't quite see yet. And that blows my mind, too, because there aren't too many times in our lives where we do that. Because we're practical as human beings. We want to be able to sit down on a chair and lean back if we know we can. If not, we'll fall over. So it's such an interesting thing to be able to have faith in the invisible or in the unknown. And unless you feel it, unless you can, I don't think there's any story, any movie, or maybe any book that could inspire someone to have maybe the same beliefs or faith as the other person. Maybe it's one of those situations that will occur in someone's lifetime, or maybe it won't. But the cool thing about it is that when it happens, I listen to people who are so convicted, and it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing.
Let me bring this up because it's a personal experience. I told you when I was 16, I was cured. I was on my way to play pro football. Weeb Eubank came to watch me play at Seton Hall High School. John Smith had gone. There was an all-county, all-state football player, as well as the acting and everything else. And I was in a lot better shape back then. But I had gotten sick right after junior year, and our team was 28-0 the years I played. Seton Hall High School. There was a friend of my parents, the DeRosa family, and they had a friend called Joey Lamangino who was a blind guy. He was blind. When he was 11 years old or so, his family had a carting company on Long Island, garbage truck company. And he was changing a tire or something, and it blew up, and it cut his optic nerves and the olfactory. He had no sense of sight and no sense of smell. He then went to a place called San Giovanni Rotondo in Foggia, Italy. This is where Padre Pio was. You can read about Padre Pio. Now, as an Italian, you hear about these saints. He was from Foggia. He had the wounds of Christ. Now, doctors examined him. Psychologists examined him. He was made a saint by Pope John Paul. He went to him in confession, and Padre Pio said to Pope John Paul, someday you will lead the church, when he was a diocesan priest in Warsaw. Subsequently, a woman in his diocese had a brain cancer, and he's performed a lot of miracles, Padre Pio. This Joey Lamangino was an older man now in his 30s. He went to San Giovanni Rotondo in Foggia, Italy, went to confession with Padre Pio. Now, this is a guy that I met more intimate than you guys. He was right in the room with me. I was in the room with him. And he said that when he went to confession with Padre Pio, and this was part of, people knew about this. He would say to him the most intimate things as he was confessing. What about this? Or did you examine your conscience about this act? Things that nobody would know, no way they would know. Also, when he blessed him, he said, you will receive new sight. And when he blessed him, he was almost blown over by the scent of smell. He didn't get his sight back, but his sense of smell exploded with the scent of roses, because that's what Padre Pio he didn't smell it had a scent of roses, which a lot of saints, supposedly, there is that thing. So understanding this, I then asked Joey, when I was in the hospital bed from 240 pounds and muscular and a great athlete to 160 pounds, and them not knowing what I had. I said to my mom, do you think Joey Lamangino could ask Padre Pio, which he did. And Padre Pio sent the telegram, pray blessings, I'm no doctor, and a pair of rosary beads blessed by him. I prayed on those. Now, you could say psychosomatic. You could say all kinds of things you want. My mother dreamt of the Mass. I prayed on the roses. A week later, Dr. Eugene Teisch out of Long Island, Huntington, said to my mother, Mary, if you told me your son was in this shape a week ago, I'd say only a miracle. He didn't know about the Padre Pio or all of that. So there is, you know what I'm saying? When you have, there are certain things like the Shroud of Turin, which has been examined. You have Eucharistic miracles, which have been examined. And if you're not aware of that, and then I went to San Giovanni Rotondo in Foggia, Italy, a couple of years ago, and also Petrocino, where Padre Pio grew up. It's again, some people say, oh, they're fairy tales. I have a friend of mine, a very close friend, who committed suicide, actually, with fentanyl, who had a problem with faith. And he says, it's all fairy tales. He couldn't get himself to believe, you know, or to have and he said, please pray for me, you know. But it's very interesting. It's very interesting that's the overwhelming question. And that's why, for me, that moment of the resurrection meant something, because you know what I mean? You say to people, because that's what people want. The doubting Thomas had to put his finger in Christ's wounds. Anyway, this is all too.
I love this because it's going to stay with me, I know, for a while. And that's, I think, based on some of the comments that our viewers have, they concur. Guys and gals, please, again, thank Robert and thank Rob and Byron. We're going to tally your votes right now, guys and gals. Again, voting on human experience, voting on stories, not the easiest thing. Who resonated most with you and why? Let's pull this up right now, guys and gals. 2 out of 3 will advance to round number 2, as we do every Saturday. Guys, on average, 3 luminaries have been here with us live every Saturday night for 14 months. The Tonight Show doesn't book at that frequency. So Tiara has a vote for Rob Van Dam. Thank you, Tiara. Appreciate that. Okay. Jeff Jr. concurs. I vote for Rob Van Dam. I'd love to sit with God. Religion and spirituality should be up to the individual because there's more than one way to get to him. How we get there is up to us in our own journey. That's Jeff Reeder Jr. We have more votes coming down the pike right now as I do this live. Let's see who we have right now, guys. Chat says, this was tough, but Robert gets my vote in this round. Thank you, Chat. Totally appreciate that. More and more votes, guys. We can't count everything because we'll be here till next Saturday night, but we have another match booked for next Saturday night. So I'll do my best. We have more. Let's see. A lot of votes coming down here. Wayne Chatelain from way down south in New Orleans. My vote is for Byron Scott. Thank you, Wayne. We appreciate that. And thank you for having your last name rhyme with your first name, Wayne Chatelain. Let's see. More votes. We got some more stuff here. Howard, I like your comments. Who are you voting for? Sharon votes for Rob. Thank you, Sharon. And Mindy concurs and votes for Rob Van Dam as well. 2 for Rob Van Dam. Rita said, Kelly looked at this in a unique angle. He did. Gus Anselmo votes for RVD. Thank you, Gus. Appreciate that. And Randy votes for Byron Scott. Okay. Let's see. I have to give my vote to Robert Davi. He was honest to himself in front of all of us and spoke to me in a way so profound. Thank you, Robert. Very eloquently done. Absolutely. All 3 of these gentlemen are extremely honest and sharing so much with us. Ramon says he votes for RVD. Thank you, Ramon Solomon. We appreciate that. Let's see if we have more votes, guys, before I count this thing down. Julie Hall. Holy mackerel, how does one vote? Can I give 1/3 of the vote to each? Amazing job from all 3. Narrowest of margin, my vote goes to Rob Van Dam. Thank you, Julie Hall. Appreciate your votes as well. All right, guys. Christopher votes for Byron. Thank you, Christopher. Appreciate your vote as well. All right there. The inspiration of my next screenplay right now is being held by Rob Van Dam as we speak. Some more votes. I think I'm going to count this thing down, guys.
Let's they always say you can't act with children and animals. And Rob brought that animal right in.
Oh, yeah, and I'm glad. Kate said she votes for Byron. Jeff Sr. goes for Robert Davi, and Giselle concurs, also goes for Robert. And I think Hillary concurs and also goes for Robert. Thank you so much. John Sr. also votes for Robert Davi. And Karen Calabretta concurs and also votes for Robert. Alexander concurs and votes for Robert. Kenyon votes for Byron. Thank you so much. Howard says I vote for Rob. And Chantel from Australia concurs and votes for Rob as well. Elise, Byron Scott answers resonated the most with me, so I vote for him. Thank you so much. Shaquila, thank you for voting for Byron. Appreciate that as well. Guys, I'm going to start counting this thing down. Luis Sanchez also votes for Rob Van Dam, and so does Truly Julie and Rita. So 3 straight. No. Rita votes for Robert. Truly Julie votes for Rob Van Dam, and Luis votes for Rob Van Dam as well. And then we have another one, and I think I'll count this as the last one, guys. I got to go to round number 2. So Ed Hauser votes for Rob Van Dam. Thank you, Ed Hauser. 10, 9, 8, 7. There's a 6 and a 5 and a 4 and a 3. Then there's a 2 and a 1 and a 0. So with that, guys and gals and pals, we're moving on to round number 2. Round number 2 is fun. It's hanging with history. You're at a restaurant. You're hosting a dinner party. You're simply enjoying the game on TV. Who are you hanging out with? Who do you secretly wish wasn't hanging out with you? Hey, we're all human, right? But what if we had a specific choice in the matter? Historically speaking, let's set the stage and be specific. We're in our mid-20s. We're single. We're about to enjoy a night out on the town, minus the frown. But somehow every historical figure of note is living amongst us. We can pick from anybody. Who do you invite as our historical wingman of sorts on a night out? And who do we absolutely not invite to hang out with us when we want to have a nice time? So, guys, we're going to rotate this thing out. Mr. Byron Scott will begin this one. In this fun nature topic, guys, again, it's all about choices. We're in our mid-20s. Byron is single. He wants to enjoy a positive and fun night on the town. Which figure from history do you select to hang out with, and why? Good sir.
Oh, man. You know what? I love comic. And I love comedians, and I am and will always be a big Richard Pryor fan. So I would love to hang out with Richard Pryor, but I probably wouldn't do what Richard does. Well, I say what Richard did. Richard did a lot of stuff that I wouldn't do because I was an athlete, but I think it would be so much fun to hang out with him and spend some time, because I think Richard would have been a fun guy to be around. And I think also he had an interesting life. You know what I mean? Again, he's grown up in the 40s and 50s, where he's trying to make a way for himself. So he had to deal with racism and all that stuff. So I would love to just sit down with him and talk to him. He is somebody in Hollywood who I never got a chance to meet, but did see a lot of his work. But I think he would be I think it would be a lot of fun with him, but I think he would also be very informational because of all the things that he did in his life. And some of the bad choices that he made when it came to drugs and things of that nature. But from a comedic standpoint, I think he's the greatest of all time. I haven't seen a comic like him since. And I think a lot of these guys like Eddie Murphy and Dave Chappelle, a lot of these guys pay homage towards Richard Pryor for what he was able to do and the way he kind of paved the way. So I think it would be fun if I was in my 20s to hang out with Richard Pryor and go to nightclubs and all that stuff, and we have a good time. I just wouldn't do some of the stuff that Richard did back then, but I would love to hang out with him.
I love that. And, it's pretty cool because I know that when you were younger, Byron, your parents essentially, when they go to the movies every week, that was kind of their one way to unwind. And there was that interesting story about how when you went downstairs and you were holding the trophy, your mom was clapping and said, yeah, you won. And your dad asked you what you're going to be when you grow up.
Correct.
He said a pro basketball player. Your
Correct.
mom was elated, and your dad asked, what if you don't make it? And I love the answer. He said, I'll be a pro baseball player.
Baseball player. That's right. I was 12 years old, so I knew athleticism was in my blood, and I knew that sports was my way of being able to get out of the ghetto or get out of Inglewood, California, which was the hood, back then. So I knew through athleticism and through being an athlete that I had a chance to get out, and that was to me my one and only chance. So I really, really, concentrated on basketball, baseball, played football, but obviously wasn't good as Robert in football, and I was also a lot smaller. So I said, you know what? Let me pick a sport that I know I can be pretty good at. And basketball and baseball were those two sports, and that story that you talk about, Ali, is true because my mom and dad were going to the movie, and I was 12. Came upstairs with my first trophy, and they said, my mom was happy and asked me what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And at 12 years old, I looked my mom and dad in the face and said, I'm going to be a professional basketball player.
It's incredible.
And, having that dream, and I know we all had dreams of being what we are today, being able to do that. But, with that dream, my mom used to always tell me too, she said, well, having that dream is great, but not applying yourself to be able to achieve that dream is the important part. So you got to work your butt off, because just waking up thinking you're going to be an NBA basketball player, it don't work like that.
and I love what she said later on when I know like if John Wooden had retired, maybe it would have been UCLA. But I love how when you were debating where to go, Your mom was like, "It'll come to you, man. Like something will happen."
Yeah. My mom was just a very, spiritual and positive person. And when I told her I couldn't make up my mind about going to UCLA or Arizona State, she told me, she said, something's going to happen that's going to make it's going to make it very clear to you where to go. And she was exactly right, because Jim Herrick called me and told me, well, we were standing at Morningside High School, and he said, young man, look at me. He said, guys that don't go to UCLA don't beat UCLA. Well, you don't tell an inner city kid, as I was, because then that just hit me where I'm going to go to Arizona State so I can play y'all twice a year so I can beat you.
You got them like 4 out of 5 times or something anyway. So
4 out of 6, so
4 out of 6. Yeah.
My mom was right. She said, something's going to happen that's going to make it very clear to you where to go. And that was the clarity that I got from that conversation with him is that, all right, I'm going to Arizona State. So yeah, it ended up working out pretty well for me.
Have to listen to our moms, guys. We have to. And I love that. Guys and gals, again, this is Hanging with History, Byron Scott, Richard Pryor. I love that. Rob, I'll have you go next, my friend. Again, you're in your mid-20s, you're single, you want to enjoy a positive and fun night in the town. Which figure from history do you select to hang out with and why?
So when I was in my 20s, I was way immature and thought I had to prove to myself, I guess, that I was tough. So I'd wear a wife beater around and puff my chest out. I was, looking back, since I have a choice now, I'm not going to do it that way now. I'm going to bring with me a Mr. Howard Hughes, not a bad wingman. Go out, hit the Hollywood Boulevard, cruise around. Besides the fact that all the women would throw themselves at said wingman, he also has a bunch of them stashed at the Beverly Hills Hotel. Like, he's rented a bunch of condos, and he's got a bunch of women in there that he just keeps on ice, that he doesn't even connect with for weeks at a time. And then he's got the movie stars. So maybe we'll hit some parties, and he'll introduce me to, some of I don't mind taking a little extra, what do they call it, the seconds or something when we're talking about Ava Gardner and maybe some of those old-time actresses, Jane Russell, Marilyn Monroe. Anyway, Howard Hughes is the guy who's taking me around. He's introducing me to all the top people. Everybody respects him. It's a good time. Maybe we'll pick his brain on business. If he's a little germophobic, I don't mind that either. I'll take some hand sanitizer with me. Not a problem. He needs someone that he can open up to and be close to, because the guy Robert Mayhew, that was his secondhand guy that he talked to through the door, that had like all the power to do everything. He never even met him. So that's amazing. I'd bond with the guy a little bit. And you know what? After hitting all the nightclubs and cruising on the streets and then hitting the Hollywood parties, we're going to hop in his airplane, and one of his airplanes, because he's a pilot, and Howard's going to take me around. Who knows? Maybe we'll go from LA to New York City for a coffee or something. You can do that when you're the world's richest man, and that's one of the reasons he'd be a pretty good wingman. I think I'd have a very good positive night, and anything's possible in said circumstances.
Howard Hughes, interesting. Yeah, you do need one of these. A little sanitizer for Howard Hughes. Absolutely. And let's not forget it. You got to get him out of the house. How do you get Howard Hughes? Well, it depends on his age and what time of life.
Yeah, depending on when. Yeah, when. But he used to get out there, and made movies and did a lot of stuff. And
during the RKO days, 100%.
Yeah, there you go.
And a lot of people don't know this. Hollywood was in Fort Lee, New Jersey before it actually moved out west. So interesting stuff there.
Oh, I think you froze, dude.
Yep, he froze.
Okay, yeah, Fort Lee, New Jersey, where they did that girl falling off the cliff. What was that? I don't know, famous footage that we've all seen to death.
Howard Lloyd, or who was it? They were doing comedies back then, right?
Yeah, but this was a cliff, like not the construction site scene that I think you're referring to, but something in Fort Lee. But I was back there when they did it. Maybe no, it was a scene from the that 19 let me see, it was the racist one, where the Ku Klux Klan, their perspective of the Civil War.
You mean D.W. Griffith?
Yes, well, I can't think of the name of it.
Yeah, was it Intolerance?
Is that what it was called? Yeah,
there was one he did called Intolerance, and you said Civil War, and I think
that's it. I think that's the one, and I was trying to. Wow, we lost our host, or he's able to. Yeah. Anyway, that was Fort Lee. Mary Lee Pickford, was it in that?
Yeah, Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks Jr. or Senior.
Fell off the cliff. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess he's coming. I guess sometime.
All right. So, yeah. So I mean, Howard Hughes, take me out on the boat next time. Now you get the point. And I'm not using him. I'm not using him for his money. I think I would enjoy hanging out
with him. Hanging out with him and the women that all around him and everything. Yeah. I understand.
And find out what the hang up is with all the Mormons and why he gives all his money to the Mormons and all the control later.
Well, he was an innovator also, he did great innovation and with aviation.
Yeah, with the Spruce Goose and the biggest plane in Long Beach. Yeah, that's true.
And then in Vegas, what do you have? What hotel was it in Vegas? Was it?
He stayed in the upper floor at the Desert Inn, and Mo Dalitz, ran it from the Cleveland mobster, and and then they kept wanting to kick him out so they could put their high rollers up there, and it was Robert Mayhew, his guy, that said, "Hey, they got to kick you out unless you want to try and buy the place." And so he bought the Silver Slipper across the street because he didn't like the light shining through his window, and bought a bunch of hotels, and even bought the local TV station so he could have it play reruns of his favorite movie all night.
Wow. There was that film. I forget who was in it. He picks him up. He's a hitchhiker in the car.
I'm not sure.
There's a film about this guy picking up. I think it's Howard Hughes.
I would even let him be in bottles and stuff if he wanted to, while we're hanging out. It'd be weird. It'd be weird, but I'd let him do it. If he didn't splash it on me. Well, we lost our host because we're so done. We're hanging out.
So Avi, we lost Avi.
Avi.
Maybe
we should. Let's see what happens. We should call him, I guess.
Huh?
Is he coming?
You sure? You're on for 2 hours. You think it's set for a certain amount?
First time in history of this show, I'm rebooting right now. Beyond about 1 minute.
1 minute. He's rebooting. First time in the history.
Okay, yeah.
We must have done something with the airwaves. Maybe Howard Hughes was listening. Prior.
He was asked how long it would be. A couple hours?
1 minute. He said 1 minute.
Yeah, he said it's gone 90 minutes before, but I don't know. And I'm like, dude, your intro was 75 minutes.
Close. About 45, 30 to 40.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Funny. I have the computer here upstairs in the guest room, and one of my other daughters came from Europe, and she's going, "When are you going to be finished?" She's there.
Right there.
Hey, Robert, I got my granddaughters here, my 2 older ones, and they
want to eat and they want to make some noise.
Yeah, but they want to go to Dave and Buster. I told them we go, don't worry. And so
but you're in LA.
Looking at me, right?
I'm on the East Coast.
Right.
You at 10 o'clock. You got it.
So I'm still
at 7 o'clock
right now. So we still got time.
What time are you in there, Rob?
I'm in Vegas, so I'm on the West Coast.
Okay, West Coast.
Yeah.
We're in Vegas, Somerset or Somerville, whatever they call.
It's close to Summerlin, like halfway. It's Spring Valley.
Okay.
West Side. Yeah, I love it here.
Yeah, I go to Vegas, Rob, probably my wife and I almost every other month.
Oh,
we
nice.
come down there and stay at the Bellagio, and I got buddies down there and family down there. So we normally go in like Thursday to Monday and just,
Yeah,
go to a show, we'll go to dinners with all our friends and family. And just,
yeah, it's a lot different living here. I hardly ever leave the house.
Yeah.
But it used to be about seeing everybody partying, and now that I live here, it's rare that I go out and do that kind of stuff. But my favorite part is everything is so close, especially because I lived in LA for a long time.
guys, make sure Kuma's food isn't there.
If I'm in the car for 20 minutes, that's too much. Like I'm everything is, if it's 6 miles, forget it. That's a long trip now because everything in Vegas is so close.
I felt like I was on a long trip. Guys and gals, first time in history.
Welcome back, bro.
Thank you so much. First time in history that happened.
Hey, there's always a first time.
Yeah, you always remember your first, guys and gals. And again, Rob Van Dam and Robert Davi, Byron Scott. Great conversation. Howard Hughes, great choice as well. Right now, we're going to kick it over, guys, to Mr. Robert Davi, who, again, in this fun nature topic, who does he pick to hang out with? When he was younger, what figure from history would he pick to hang out with to be his wingman, and why? Are you ready to go, good sir?
I hope so. I got a question for you, though, because I initially took it more seriously. So he's a historical figure, and I went back to ancient Rome. But it's not such a, but I could be, then I have
Totally
my
up to you.
second choice.
Totally
I have
up
my
to you.
second. You want to keep this light? We want to keep this light?
Anything that speaks to your heart, my friend. Anything that you want. Anyone.
Good answer.
Because they all speak
I
to my
once
heart.
dated a
even the
gal
light
that people told me to not date, and I thought she was hysterical. Everyone else thought she was boring. So it really doesn't matter. Whatever speaks to you, my friend.
Well, only because we had that conversation earlier.
Correct.
Oddly enough, about our country a little bit and about things fraying apart. So I had done, who would I want my wingman to be? Now look, I've been in Hollywood, guys, 47 years. I did my first film with Sinatra. You know what I mean? I did films with Brando, Clint Eastwood. Arnold Schwarzenegger here. It's fantastic. It's so great here. I mean, I'm friendly with Quincy Jones. I've hung out with a lot of these cats. You know what I'm saying? So when I went to history, I wanted to go way back. And I went to Cicero. That was my honest first guy. I wanted to go to Cicero because our republic is really coming directly from Cicero. It comes from the ancient Greeks, and it comes from Cicero because what they wanted and the ancient Greeks did this initially. They said there were three things that have to be done for a republic. And it was very interesting. I wanted to make sure I got it. There was kingship, the aristocracy, and a democracy. President, Senate, Congress. Goes back to ancient Plato and Aristotle. And then Cicero put them in that form of the republic and ancient Rome. Now, it's a very interesting thing about that whole era, because ancient Rome, of course, had a problem. And there's this quote that I found fascinating for me. The evil was not inbred in circuses, per se, but in the willingness of the people to sell their rights as free men for full bullies and the excitement of games which would serve to distract them from other human hungers which bread and circuses can never appease. One Roman is recorded as saying, "Those who live at the expense of the public funds are more numerous than those who provide them." That could not continue. Rome was no longer Rome.
No.
Okay? And the Will and Ariel Durant said, if Rome had not engulfed so many men, because what we're having is, and Cicero talked about borders, the Catiline orations that he gave. And I would have loved to hang with him and really find out and get into the thing of ancient Rome. What brought ancient Rome down? You know what I mean? What happened here? They say it was immigration. They say it was this. A lot of the same problems we're having in our country today. But the idea of a republic comes from ancient Roman times, and it's a very interesting thing, that was interesting to me, not to put everybody asleep on this subject. I can go much more deep on it, but I don't
think you could make us go to sleep if you tried. And I could say the same for Byron, Rob, and Jeremy and Kelly, because everyone based in the comment section that are wide awake here on a Saturday night. And hey, truth and honesty and entertainment all wrapped into one. The cool thing about what we do is it's entertaining to be honest. That's a kind of a cool notion. When you're honest, you can entertain people. Why? Because they know you're not BSing them. Nobody wants to be BS'd. I love it. You guys are awesome, really, from the heart. We're about to move into topic number 2, guys and gals and pals who are commenting. Topic number 3, our final topic is upon us right now. Let's rotate it out with our judges. Kelly White, who do you vote for in this round and why? Good sir.
Okay. In general, I like this was a little bit more lighthearted. Avi, first time in history you disappeared. Of course, I'm here. We know how that goes. So I put myself in the shoes of the question, me in my 20s.
Sure.
And I got to say, I probably had a lot more in common with Rob, the way he described his 20s. So, you know, Robert, I think it was an awesome choice. I will have to say, sir, you were a much better citizen than I ever was in my 20s. Just hanging out with Cicero and getting the civics lesson, probably would have made me a better person, but I don't think I would have enjoyed it for a night out.
You got to realize I grew up in a family that around the dinner table, when we were 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 years old, me and my cousins would put in a tape recorder and become different political opponents. And we would debate each other. That was just, I was never, did I have a good time in my 20s? Absolutely. Was I a partier per se? No.
Gotcha.
You know, but I did party at times. So that wasn't the essence. My essence was always, you know, what would Cicero do?
It's just a
maybe on the third
I'm a
night.
sick person. I'm a lonely guy.
You would be in awe of him the first few nights. Maybe on the third night he'd party with you. Maybe he'd be insisting, hey, take me to Hollywood. Take me to some of the sites that you've seen. You never know.
Right.
Maybe it would have been the other way. You
said wingman. You know, those togas, they were doing those Roman baths. They had to be a lot of fun, you know. Who the hell knows?
Absolutely. Wow. Okay.
Mr. White, I don't envy you, my friend. Tall task ahead of you.
I hear you. So, you know, now I'm left with, hanging with Howard Hughes or Richard Pryor. And I think either one's going to be a damn good time. Pardon my French. But I got, Byron brought up the point. I think he would want to do some things that might have gotten me in a whole bunch of trouble back then. And I don't know if he could get me out of it. I think Howard Hughes would have still been a good time. I think he had the money to get me out of it if it went too far left. But I think I could have kind of maintained with him. So on this one, just out of my own personal affinity for the idea, I got to go with Rob Van Dam on this one. Everybody did great, though. Really did.
Kelly White votes for Rob Van Dam. Thank you, Mr. White. I know a tall task. And again, Mr. London, I could tell by the expression. And
so I got to tell you. Oh, he froze again?
Froze again.
Oh, is he?
You froze again, brother.
Howard Hughes, of course, did. When he died, he had broken syringe needles and stuff in his arms.
Well, let me tell you, I got to say this quick story because it's cool.
Oh, there he is.
Oh, there's Jeremy.
Yes. Good. I'd like to say thank you to Avi for glitching before me. I'm usually the one that's glitching, so thank you for taking that off of my shoulders.
Anytime.
Avi. Guys, Avi, this is so hard. All of your answers are freaking amazing. 51 now. And so Mr. Davi's answer, Cicero, is absolutely fascinating to me because I'm very much into politics and what's going on in our nation and the world and stuff like that. So if you were to say 51-year-old Jeremy, Mr. Davi would have it right off the bat. You did say 20-year-old Jeremy. So I don't think that I would have cared who Cicero was back then. Richard Pryor would have gotten me killed and arrested. Howard Hughes would have been fun, but he would have attracted women that are a bunch of leeches that I can't stand. And so I want to party with Richard Pryor, baby.
Richard Pryor.
20 years old?
And you could still, I wish the kids out there knew, you could still watch Live on the Sunset Strip, man. What a great special that was. One of the
Yes,
best.
imagine being young and being able to be in that clique and running around with Richard Pryor. Are you kidding me?
I love it.
I mean, 51-year-old Cicero wins now, though. If I'm telling you right now, that was an amazing.
No, the reason why I had to go there because at 20, my mid 20s.
Yeah.
I did my first film with Frank Sinatra.
Yeah.
I'm in a social club in Little Italy at 3:00 in the morning. I'm standing there going, my first film with Sinatra, and he's at the bar with Jilly Rizzo and Harry Guardino and a couple of other guys. And Frank does a double take on me like this. He goes, Robert, have a drink. I don't drink, Mr. Sinatra. You don't drink, you're fired. He goes, come over to the bar. He gives me my first Jack Daniels. All right. He says, he puts a bucket glass on the bar, the bottle of Jack Daniels, pours 2 fingers of Jack, water, 4 ice cubes. He goes, this will be your new drink. It'll get you where you want to go to without getting you hurt. So what am I going to do? I've had dinners with Quincy Jones. How am I going to say an entertainment figure? Cicero. I could never meet with Cicero.
You mentioned Sinatra a few times. We have today as well. We finally got a cool Rat Pack story. That's the quintessential Rat Pack story right there. Yeah. I don't trust you unless you drink with me. That's
what you know what I mean. And we became friends. Now I was going to say Humphrey Bogart because I had never met him, and I would have liked to have met. But Cicero, because of the climate of the world, and even in my 20s, I would have done that. And
it's Cicero. A wonderful answer. It truly is a wonderful answer. Yeah, I had to listen to the question in its entirety.
No, when he says when you're 20, I thought of that. But my 20, I was a different egg.
Well, your choice was a bold one because it was intelligent and it taught me something, and I love it. I just being realistic in my 20s, who would have I wanted to party with?
Absolutely.
Would have been,
your wingman.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Jeremy London, guys and gals, again, who epitomizes what we do here. He's honest, he's classy, he's real. We all are here as well. Thank you, Mr. London. One more topic to go, guys, and we are out of here after this last.
But topic. Byron, didn't Richard Pryor live in the Valley?
Yeah.
He lived in Granada Hills, didn't he?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, so you had to cross paths in some way.
No, we didn't. That's the thing that tripped me out is we didn't cross paths. So, like I said, I was a huge Richard Pryor fan, and we didn't cross paths. I lived right in Culver City at the time when he lived out here in the Valley. We never crossed paths.
Right. Third manager did stand up, met Richard Pryor, told me a quick story. I'll say it right now. Asked Richard Pryor for advice in the mid-'80s about stand-up. Richard said, I got something for you. Meet me after my show. Met him after his show, sitting down there, waiting for him for half an hour. Says, I got some profound advice for you for your next gig. He says, what is it? Richard Pryor says, don't bomb, and walks away. That's it. That's all it was. Guys and gals and pals, we are talking about topic number 3 right now. Before we do, let's get your votes real quick. Guys, let's put in your votes real quick in the comment section because of my technical snafu. That is my fault. I apologize. Ramon says Byron gets my vote. Thank you, Ramon, for your vote. Appreciate that. Mr. London, so happy to have you here judging tonight. Absolutely. 100%. Every time I communicate with Jeremy, man, I light up because he's the real deal and a real friend. Julie, love to laugh. So, of course, Richard Pryor. So I vote for Byron Scott. Thank you for that as well. More votes coming down the pike. We'll keep this one short so we can move on to topic 3. Arissa says RVD gets my vote. Thank you for your vote as well. We appreciate that. A couple of more guys. Pride in the prize. Hey, round 2 begins in a couple of months. It's jam-packed. It's going to have over 91 Hall of Famers, Oscar, Tony, Grammy, Emmy, Golden Globe, AMA, and Olympians all competing for the Pride in the prize. It's going to be about a year long before we finish this whole thing, but we're having fun and we're learning. More votes, more votes, more votes. Of course, one will be the one who wins it all. Julie votes for Byron Scott. Jeremy is amazing. You're right about that. My vote goes to Rob Van Dam. Thank you, Alexander. And Chantel votes for Byron this round. Jeff votes for Byron. Okay. Q Cuts Taylor votes for Byron. Remember, the only time we're ever going to have a stipulation called the Second Chance Bowl will happen immediately after round 1. That will not happen in all 6 rounds of this tournament. So anyone who does not advance to round 2, a few of them will get a chance to come back. We'll see who that is. Rachel says she votes for Byro Robert because it's both, I guess. I see what you did there. Okay. Javon Steele votes for Byron Scott. And then we have another one here. Ed votes for Byron. I love the era of Richard Pryor, though. Absolutely. Sure. And Mel Red votes for Rob Van Dam. Thank you so much. Shaquila Daniels votes for Byron Scott. Tammy votes for Rob Van Dam. Karen Calabretta says, Robert's got me here. I'm voting for Robert. Thank you for your vote, Karen. Appreciate that, guys. I'm going to count this whole thing down so we can move on to round number 3, which is going to be very exciting. It's very close. Chad got your vote for Byron. Thank you very much. And Phil Donahue got your vote for RVD. Thank you so much. In a 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, then there's a 4, there's 3, there's 2, obviously there's a 1 and a 0. So with that, guys, being said, we are now in round number 3. It is very close based on this tally that I see behind the scenes. Let's see how this thing goes. It's a thought-provoking topic. Everyone has a different question. That's the only time I switch things up. So, not going to give you anything long-winded. I just want to let you guys go. When I was teaching high school, I used to start my classes off with thought-provoking questions and ideas. And there would be an awkward moment of silence followed by either an eruption of laughter and discussion or some booze. I'm not always on. But then I try to capture that energy and redirect it to whatever lesson I planned. It was the transition. If it went well, I might just have had one of my best classes ever. So remember something, guys. The power of provoking thought lies in its ability to challenge our assumptions, to broaden our perspectives, to ignite a desire for knowledge. Let us embrace the power of provoking thought and continue to challenge the norms that hold us back from progress and growth, because the best conversations or breakthroughs often start with a single thought or question. Rob, my question to you, my friend, is what is the best way to train people to see the gradients in the world around them instead of just a simplistic, this is good, that is wrong view of the world, my friend? Whenever you're ready, good sir.
Okay, let's take a crack at this. How I personally will educate everybody on this is my own philosophy. I call it RVDology. I have a set of values that I've learned from experience, and that shapes my perspective always. So all of my thoughts come from a perspective that I find a lot of people don't have. And I think it's important that people realize everyone has a different perspective. Basic thinkers don't seem to know that. They just assume their thoughts are what everyone else thinks. And so they don't mind in a loud, in a big room, they don't mind screaming, political things or whatever, because they don't even think that other people could have opposite views, or if they do, those people are idiots. So we all have our own values. We all have our own perspectives. We're all in different places in life, and we never have all the information about anybody else. Never. Whatever we think we have, it's a small part of what all there is to know. So I will have my followers reprogram themselves, as all adults should anyway, to have this perspective of knowing that it's not just this is good, this is bad anymore, because it's not that simple. What somebody wants, somebody else might not want. And you don't know what that person's agenda is. Somebody could be eating salt, and you could look at it and roll your eyes and then be like, they're fat, they don't need that salt. But in reality, maybe their doctor told them to take it to retain more water, or who knows? Who knows? But we judge each other by our own values, because we don't see other people's values when we see them. We just see them violating our beliefs, and then we judge them and say that's bad or that's good. Well, it depends. It depends on really like what you're looking for. Maybe you could see somebody doing something, and you could just be like, no, that's bad. You don't. Or you extend past personal boundaries, and you know what? Don't hang around those people, or don't listen to what they have to say, or don't associate with them or whatever. They're bad. That's totally subjective on the person that's talking about them. It could be good people, or they could be good for this person. So you always have to look at the subjectiveness of where the source is coming from that's going to label something as good or as bad. Some people could take looking at somebody drinking, and they could say like, alcohol is so bad for their health. Why are they drinking? They don't know. But really, what if they're looking to improve their spiritual health? when they're out celebrating, that's what alcohol is called, spirits. That's why, because it lifts your spirits. That's its purpose. So maybe that's all they're looking to do. And maybe their priorities aren't the same as yours. My priorities are with my spirit. So I'll do a lot of things that might not be the number one thing I would do for physical priority or for mental priority, or other priorities sometimes circle around and take the front plate, the front burner. So then that's more important. So being aware of your priorities, your perspectives, realizing that everybody else is not you. They're not trying to be you, unless it's your kid and you have the power to tell them what to do and what to think. Otherwise, be you, that works for you, and let other people be them and what works for them. And what you think might be good or bad might not be for somebody else. You might love onions. Blah. I'm going to tell you they're horrible. Let's spit them out of my mouth. It's all subjective. Everything is subjective. And you can't have an open mind and not realize that everything is subjective. It goes hand in hand. So it's mandatory. Reprogram yourself thinking like that. Empathy is being able to feel what other people are feeling or imagine what they're feeling. A lot of people in society, I dare say the majority of the status quo, I don't think they're empathetic. I think it's more about, why is this guy in my way? I'm trying to get around. What's he doing? Cutting me off. You know what? There is an answer for that. You just don't know it. Maybe he is in a hurry. Maybe it's emergency. You don't know. But everyone just thinks that how everything happens to them. It's an ignorant way of thinking. And this is how I'm changing it right here with my values, RV ideology. Accept it.
Yeah. I love that. This is from Michael from the studio, who would actually text me about 2 minutes before while Rob was speaking. He said, keep this entire thing moving. This is amazing. Forgot what I was doing. Wife is screaming at me. Don't care. Love the show. So awesome message there. Guys, really awesome stuff here. And Rob, I totally agree. How can someone judge another human being if they only read a page out of their book of life instead of taking time to read a few chapters at the very least in their book of life?
And it's not just about reading something and then saying, okay, I know it because I read it. It's about living it. So you actually have to change your perspective, which has come around before, like when we were talking about, faith. It's the same thing. It's a mindset. It's a mindset that has to change. And then all of your decisions and choices are based on that new mindset. So boom, you're golden. That's what you want.
Why reward yourself by putting someone down? Why reward yourself by putting someone down? That doesn't get you anything. That's instant gratification. And then you're going to feel like crap later on. You're going to feel horrible because most people don't want to make other people feel bad. They just want to lift themselves up. So I love what you brought up. It makes total sense. And guys and gals and pals, thank you for sticking with us as well. Again, technical snafu that I had earlier. I apologize there. Robert, guys, has a different question. In the past.
I want to just answer something about Rob. Bring up, because you say it's a conversation. And this is interesting. And people might like that because they know the director, Frank Capra. Yes. You know the director, Frank Capra.
Sure.
Tremendous movies. He was one of the first Academy Award winning directors several times. Meet John Doe, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, State of the Union, and It's a Wonderful Life, and others. Now, It's a Wonderful Life answers that question in a certain way. The idea of one man, the difference that he can make, and he was rejecting his own life, what he wanted to do to help his. It's a very interesting analogy, that question. I think Wonderful Life was. I think everyone likes that film, and I think they're remaking it. Actually,
they are. They are.
Byron, they're remaking It's a Wonderful Life.
Wow! I thought it was a Christmas movie. I must have it mixed up with something.
Well,
is it a Christmas movie?
People watch it during Christmas and it ends during Christmas. Because look, it's like they say Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Right.
I don't say that.
You know what I mean?
I don't say that. It's a great movie. Great movie. One of the best. But I like that you brought that up. At the end of the day, though, this was not a character in that film, of course, that policed himself that much. A lot of people that police themselves expect other people to do the same. It's very interesting because at what point do we stop policing ourselves and say, hey, you know what? I'm allowed to make mistakes because that's where I make discoveries. Mr. Robert Davi, my question for you, good sir, and thank you again for your very insightful, intellectual, honest, deep, profound thoughts Yes, absolutely. This is a conversation because guys and gals and pals, we do conversation, not controversy. That's what we do here. Robert, in the past, what personal prisons have you built out of fears, my good friend?
Well, I guess the biggest would be, or one of the biggest, the personal fears that you have is and there were several. One of them being very obvious. I had a bad skin condition when I was younger. And that was a traumatic experience because it scarred me. It scarred me in my face and other parts in my back and chest and stuff like that. And I was always embarrassed about that. It could have totally crippled me. And in some aspects it had. It made me very insecure for a certain point. And even when I started to, here I am, a teenager, a young kid, and I want to be an actor. And the ridicule that people give you want to be an actor, pizza face, how are you going to be an actor? You know what I mean? And they would have this kind of, so I could have let that really box me into a bad prison. But for some stupid reason, don't ask me what it is, my own drive overrode that sense of my own prison that I could have been in with wanting to become an actor. And what helped me on that, of course, were my parents and teachers. When they give you that quality of, or they give you the encouragement to follow your dream, to don't let something stop your dream, and that you had talent to continue that dream in spite of what you may have felt you look like physically at that time. And I think everybody feels that in some way, at a certain age. And it was one of the things that Sinatra had said to me early on, and Stella Adler, and because I was a good actor. He noticed that I had scarring on my neck, and he said to me, "Were you a forceps baby?" I says, "Yeah." And then he showed me his scar, and he says, "So was I." Because don't let those bother you. They make you who you are. They're decorations. They're not an affliction. And when he did that, that then gave me even a stronger impetus. And that was my own prison in a certain way of that could have debilitated my ability to communicate. At the same time, it became a strength because it made me work harder at being able to create an intellect in my mind and my artistic sensibility and my awareness and my empathy for human beings. So my prison actually became a quality of me having a tremendous empathy for our fellow man and for everyone's, in spite of going beyond the skin, going beyond. So that's kind of one of the prisons.
Thanks for sharing that, man. That's impressive how you overcame that and the stigma of it all, and were able to kind of take that as a badge of honor and say, hey, this is what makes me unique. I love that.
There were even some reviewers that every once in a while would say something about that, the pockmarked or something like that, as if that's who I was. That's who the character. And I actually wrote them letters.
You know what, though? That's cool because that was a gateway towards getting to know who you were. It's the first thing they saw. And then when they got to know you, they go, well, you know what? I cannot judge a book by its physical cover. And by the way, Robert Davi, I'm going to say this to you right now, and I said this to Byron and Rob. You got the Fountain Youth in the backyard as well. I like the hair. Robert's got an infectious smile. You, my friend, you got all three of you are keeping the Fountain Youth for me, and that's not cool. But hey, that's fine. Different time, different conversation for that. But Mr. Byron Scott, again, I know we're not moving on from topic to topic, question to question. I know there's a lot of things we have to say. So please, my friend, if you want to respond to anything or react to anything Robert said, the floor is yours. But my question to you when you're ready is, where does a person's self-worth come from, my friend?
Well, first of all, with Robert, I've been a big fan for a long time. I loved him in Die Hard. I thought he was fantastic. And listen to your story of your scars and things of that nature is fantastic, man. Just applaud you. And same with RVD, man. You guys are rock stars. And it's been an honor and a pleasure to be on this panel with you guys as well. With me, thank you. With me, self-worth comes within yourself, basically. You know, you got to believe in who you are. You got to believe in the things that you want to accomplish in life. Now, it all obviously helps when you have people that love you and that are backing you, that are encouraging you. And I had that in my parents. And I'm very unique in the sense of I had, you know, 2 dads and a mom. I had my biological dad who my mom and, you know, him got together to have me. They never got married. And then she went away and got married to my stepdad, who I very lovingly call Pops, because he's the man who raised me. You know, but all 3 of those people were very instrumental in my life. They were very nurturing. My mom was just an unbelievable mom because she was always the positive one in the family. She was always nurturing. She was always telling me I could do any and everything that I wanted to do, anything that I set my mind to. My dad was the one that would push me and say, yeah, you can, but you're going to have to do this. He was the one that had that, you know, you got to work for everything that you're going to get in this life type of attitude, because I had the honor of watching him when I was in high school, go to a job early in the morning, then come home when I was home from school, then went to a second job, you know, just so we could have a roof over our heads and that he could provide, you know, clothes and food for us. So I found out very early what hard work was all about, you know, by watching my dad go to work every day, you know, to both his jobs, you know. So I knew, you know, then growing up, you know, when I was, you know, 15, 16, and I got to high school, I knew that, you know, one of the things that was going to separate me from my boys that lived in the neighborhood who also wanted to play sports and wanted to get out is that my work ethic had to be harder than everybody else's. I knew that I had a God-given talent, you know, for sports, you know, not just basketball, but baseball and football. But I knew if I wanted to be good, that I was going to have to outwork everybody as well if I wanted to be great. You know, so having that nurturing, you know, relationship with my mom and dad, I think is extremely important. There are so many kids today that are coming from one parent households, and not saying that that's a bad thing, but it is obvious that not having the father there, you know, that son or daughter is missing something. You know, I was very blessed to have them there with me every single day, pushing me, encouraging me, loving me. And the thing that my dad didn't do back in those days that we do every time that we see each other, because men didn't do this back in our days. And Robert and Rob know what I'm talking. We didn't embrace, we didn't hug, we didn't show affection, you know, back in the days when I was growing up. But now when I see my dad, you know, we hug each other, we embrace each other, we give each other a kiss on the cheek to show how much we love each other. So I think that self-worth obviously has to come within yourself. You got to believe in who you are. You got to believe in the dreams that you're setting for yourself. You got to believe that you can go get those dreams. You can achieve them, you know. But my dad was always that one that said, you got to work your butt off. And my mom was always the one that was saying, you know, you got to be humble, you know, because she knew, she was like, you're going to make it. You're going to be an NBA star, but you got to be humble. You got to, that's the one thing that she told me. Then the other thing she always would tell me, and you know, these are just moms, Rob. You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, man, yeah.
And my mom would tell me, and I want you, just because you make it to the NBA, you treat everybody the way you want them to treat you. You know, that was one of her key notes to me. And I remember taking her out to dinner when I made it to the NBA. My second year, when I really started to feel my oats, and I was like, all right, now I know I belong in this league. I could play in this league at a high level. And I took her to dinner, and I was getting bothered by people coming over to ask for autographs while we were having dinner. And, you know, I was turning people down like, you know, hey, can we just have dinner and I'll sign them afterwards. And I remember the last person that left, my mom said to me, and she said, it sure is nice to be important, isn't it? I said, yeah, I mean, I guess. She said, baby, it's more important to be nice. And those things have stuck with me, you know, being nice to people, having that humility, you know, being humble, and just remembering everything that she taught me and that she instilled in me. So that's self-worth. Again, it comes with, you know, comes from within. But if you got parents like I had, you know, there's nothing that you will think that you can't do or that you can accomplish in this world.
I got to chime in because our moms are so important.
Absolutely.
And my mother used to say to me, you could, you know, How was that? You could do better. She also said SPS, self-praise stinks. My dad working the 3 jobs was, SPS, self-praise stinks. And the woman across the street doesn't have a husband. Go shovel her thing for her. Help her out. Go shovel the driveway. But that worth it. And the bittersweet aspect of that, the year I got the Sinatra film, the week of it, my mom was diagnosed with lung cancer at 56 years old. By the time we finished filming, she died. And then my dad died like a year after it came out. But these Italian American parents saw their son do their first film with Frank Sinatra.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? They didn't see my career. I wasn't able to.
And I just want to put this in context because in an Italian household, especially in New York, guys, 3, the Pope, not in that order, the Pope, Tony Bennett, Frank Sinatra.
I always say there were 2 figures because even for Tony Bennett, there were 2 figures in an Italian household, the Pope and Sinatra, and not necessarily in that order.
Right.
Yeah.
And Tony and Vic Damone. I mean, so many great artists.
Right.
Quincy Jones,
Right. And Ali, real quick, I remember, again, we talk about moms and how great they are and how instrumental they are in our success.
Sure.
And I remember there was a point in time at Arizona State where I thought about dropping out of school and not even playing at Arizona State and just putting my name in the NBA draft. And I came home from Arizona State and I told my mom I was going to do this. And my mom looked at me. She said, "Oh, okay, that's good. So where are you going to stay?" I said, "What do you mean?"
Right.
She said, "Where are you going to stay? Why you're doing it?" I said, "Well, I'm going to stay here with you." She said, No, you can't stay." Because I was talking about dropping out. Because she said, "I want you to take your butt back to school and go to class.
Yeah.
And learn."
Great woman. What's her name?
Her name is Dorothy. Her name was Dorothy. My mom passed away about 6 years ago. But she said, "I want you to go back to school and learn." So I went back to school.
Yeah.
In that year, I ended up being the first in our family to graduate.
Wow.
Because my mom told me, "No, you're not dropping out of school because it's getting hard and you just want to throw your name in the NBA draft. No, take your butt back to school." That's exactly how she told me. Take your butt back to school. She made me sit on the bed because I was taller than her. So she made me so she wouldn't be looking up at me. So she was looking down at me. And she said, "Take your butt back to school and you go to class and you learn." And that's what I did. The next year I ended up going to the draft anyway, and I was the 4th player pick, but I went back to school and got my degree.
That's what I was going to say. Your respect for your mom had no expiration date because years later you fulfilled that and you went back to school. And that's
on her dying bed, she
amazing.
said, "You hadn't, you still didn't go back and get your degree." I said, "Oh my God, you're right, Mom. Let me go back and get it." And I went back and got it. That's
incredible, man. And again, guys, thank Rob and Rob, that tribute that you did. You're another humble human being for your father years ago. I did some research on that and talking about how great of a wonderful man he was too. And really kind of told you, hey, he was there to listen to you. He asked the whys. He made you ask the whys, kind of opened up your horizons a bit, which I think is really awesome, especially considering the fact that he's like, hey, look, college education, really important. This wrestling thing doesn't work out. You had a scholarship anyway, but you believed in yourself and you had a dad who supported you. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah, let me add just for the value of, if anyone appreciates my perspective, I think that we get our sense of self-worth from the feedback that we hear from other people. I think that if someone was to live alone, isolated, not be around people their entire life, they have no idea if they're good looking, if they're unattractive, if they're fat, skinny, whatever. They don't know. So I think that that's important to keep in mind is when you talk to people, your word has a lot of power to it. So try to bring people up and build their self-image as opposed to taking it down, because you tell a beautiful swan she's an ugly duckling long enough, she's going to believe it. Anybody would. It becomes fact after a while because that's all you know. That's all your information is, what you're taking as input from the outside source, meaning not you. So I think that keep that in mind when you're talking to people, and that's another good reason to not put somebody down. What are you trying to accomplish? You really want them to change and lower their own perspective of themselves? What kind of crappy thing is that to want?
How many
You can wake up and realize that you're the universe. You can wake up and realize you're the universe. You don't have to reach for the stars. You're right there. We're all connected. I know, again, how that might sound, a little flowery, a little poetic, but we are. And I think a lot of people try to pin their hopes and their dreams based on other people's either affections or approval. They might have a cold, bitter pill to swallow, because at the end of the day, it's what have you done next? That's how society judges people who succeed. Who know better than Byron Scott, Robert Davi, and Rob Van Dam? Yay, you're a hero today. Oh, you weren't tomorrow? Guess what? We expected you to. So then it's like you're not playing a game when you're playing basketball, or you're not wrestling when you're in the ring, or you're not trying to get an Oscar when you're on set. What you're trying to do is bring the best out of yourself, and that attracts people because they know that you're not doing it just for approval. You're doing it because you owe it to yourself and to those who will stick with you even when you're not at your best. So I love that you guys have gotten a chance to give us knowledge about your parents, about your background, about who you are. Again, that means so much to me. It really, really does. We even got to meet Rob's dog, so that's pretty cool.
I wanted to pick up a thing what Rob said in terms of there's so many stories you hear of people that say, if he didn't say good morning to me, or if someone didn't do this act of kindness, they were going to commit suicide that day. And that was a turning point in their moment of deciding to save their own life.
Yeah.
So that whole idea is so
pretty strong thought.
Yeah, so
pretty
profound.
Strong thought. Guys, we're going to bring in our, again, hate to use the term judges, but the great storytellers in the back, beginning with Mr. Jeremy London, who's been sitting here. And again, I appreciate him being here, because to get to know him, don't watch From London to You because I'm telling you to. Watch it because you might get to know more about, again, the person behind the persona, hopefully, because that's what the show is really about. That's what this is about. Mr. London, you're about to, for the third time, and I could probably get a text or message from you in caps going, what are you putting me through? How can I vote? But my friend, nonetheless, floor is yours.
Wow. Yes. First of all, gentlemen, incredible all around. The depth of the conversation tonight was it kept me involved, and it made me understand, that we're not all just going down. We're not all going to hell. There's still deep thinkers out there. There's still people that actually care about each other out there. There's still people out there that have morals and ethics and that aren't just thinking about just the vacuous things that are pounded into our brain on a daily basis. I love all of your answers, and so I'm going to. I wish I could just say Robert Van Scott. How about that? Is that again? Robert Van Scott one.
It's a great name.
As actors, I always said that I got into this industry because somebody moved me at one time. Many people did, but when I was inspired to become an actor is because I realized that we have these opportunities to move people and to touch people, touch people's hearts. And tonight, I not only had an opportunity to sort of to have my heart touched, but to have my mind stimulated as well. And Mr. Davi, for me, did all of that for me. He's going to get my vote, and it's only because you almost made me cry twice. That's not fair. That's not. If I'm an emotional creature, and I teach. I'm a teacher as well, and I teach. I tell people that you have to know the material first, because until you know the material, you're distracted and you can't connect with it. And then once you know that material, then you can work on using that material to move people and to understand the importance of what it is we get to do. And so all of the answers were just so well thought of and so 100% spot on. There was no right or wrong. I just have to pick the one that made me cry because he made me cry, and that's
Robert Davi.
Gentlemen, that's the only reason. I hope you all know that. But Mr. Davi, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your truly, this has been unexpected. I didn't expect this. I had no idea I was going to be a part of this tonight, like this. And I, as a fan, have been thoroughly entertained. The fact that I get to participate in all of this is an honor of a lifetime. And Avi, you're always, you're always doing this and
thank you, bro.
bringing wonderful minds together, bringing wonderful questions. Your questions are so well thought out, and they allow us to go beyond these, the nonsense. As actors, and even Mr. Scott, all of us, we all know generally when we're being interviewed, the questions are very surface level, repetitive nonsense, and we wind up having to do all the work, right? And so to be able to be inspired, not only by everybody's answers, but everybody's hearts and everybody's minds, but everybody's commitments to staying honest, came through. And I want to thank all of you guys for that, and thank you for letting me be a part of it. But
100%.
Yeah, Mr.
Thank
Davi,
you, Jeremy.
Thank you for making me cry, sir.
Sure. Let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Your lighting. How do you get that lighting?
You're gonna laugh. I've got that there, and then these are my garden grow lights. I literally have these garden grow lights that
I love the purple haze.
Isn't that great?
It's
I mean,
great.
if Robert, if I could have voted for someone to be my wingman based on that setup, I got Jeremy London, man.
Hey,
I like it.
Hey, I can tell you what, in my 20s,
we've been on. Yeah, man. Well, my friend, I'm going to talk to you tomorrow, but I want to say this to you, Jeremy, with you on screen. Somebody asked me a really simple question. I gave him a really quick, brief answer. Like, why do you like doing this on Saturday nights? Because it reminds me that we're human. So thank you guys for allowing me to feel so human on or in an era where that's kind of rare. So thank you guys again for being who you are.
I'm a grandfather, so Saturday night's like every other night to me now. I'm at home with my grandbaby all the time. So.
I'm also a great grandfather.
That's
wow,
wonderful.
that's amazing. Wow,
got me.
That's wonderful. And I know, Mr. Scott, you've got your grandbabies there too. So we apologize for keeping you from them all night, but we sure are glad you stayed with us.
Man, oh man, incredible, Jeremy. Thank you, my friend. I'm going to contact you tomorrow, guys. Give it up for the great Jeremy London, who's a legend of a human being and a storyteller. Thank you so much, good sir.
Thank you.
Jeremy London, guys. Let's bring in Mr. Kelly White. Kelly, floor is yours, my friend.
Okay, wow. Jeremy made that a hard act to follow. That's for darn sure. I do want to, kind of piggyback off him or re-express that, thank you guys for being here, for being who you are. Like I said, this is the first time Avi has blinked out, and you guys just, jumped in there as professionals and as good people and just carried that until he was able to return. So, thank you for that. Thank you for sharing the screen with my ugly mug. I certainly appreciate that. But I guess I've got to make a vote.
No. Don't say that, because I've tried for 40 plus years to actually grow a real beard. You have. So kudos to you in that beard, because I wish I can get that thing going. But go ahead, my friend.
All right. So I got my beard going for me. So I got a little something. This one again, tough. Said I wish I'd just say, hey, give everybody a point. Let me move on. Rob, I wish everybody could just go over, get their RVGology degree and change their way of thinking, open their minds. If it was just that simple, dude, I would start a scholarship if I could and get everybody.
I'm with that.
Yeah. Byron, the self-worth. I think you painted a wonderful picture of your family. I could see it in my head. Your mom making you sit down on the bed because you're, so tall, and giving you the what for and letting you know how it is. That really touched me. And Robert, your stories tonight, shooting a film with Sinatra, hanging out with those guys, and all the things and stuff you've got to see, and your point of your personal prison. I gotta say, I think with that, and I don't recall ever doing this before, is splitting my vote equally. But I think you express that so much, and to have something like that and carry it into what most people would consider the exact opposite of direction of what you needed to do based on that, and forge ahead and become successful and learn from it and become a more empathetic person. I've got to give you my vote based on that. No one here doesn't deserve the vote, don't get me wrong, but I've got to vote for one person, and on this one, it is Mr. Robert Davi. Thank you, sir.
Hey, God bless you. Thank you, and thank everyone.
Thank you, Kelly. Appreciate that. Yeah. Some really cool comments. Just going to bring this up real quick. Ed, tonight with these three men makes me so happy to keep moving on with being a positive person. Thanks, man. I love that comment. Appreciate that. Yeah. That's what they're giving us because that's who they are. And I can attest to that because off camera, that's who they are. Positive human beings. And so is Kelly. Thank you, my friend.
Absolutely.
Guys, we're going to turn it over to you right now.
Marlon Brando was a friend of mine. And I did a film with him, and I met him through Stella Adler in the 70s. And George Englund, who produced and directed The Ugly American and The Shoes of the Fisherman, and was very close to Marlon, even wrote a book about his relationship with him. And Marlon hated the award shows. How can anybody be better? How do you know? He had an aversion to that because he felt the empathy to all his fellow men. You know what I mean? And I feel that with everybody, win, lose, draw, what? You know who's great? He said to the girl, here it is. My dog's the best actor in the world. He's hungry.
I'd like to think one day, and I've said this to a couple of people, I think, Michael Cooper, I mentioned this to. I mentioned this to a big film director and star Hollywood guy who's going to be on in a few weeks. I want to be able to do this in person one day soon, which is very probable. Not because of the lights or the camera, quite the contrary, just taking like media away and just having this big old grand dinner with like 30 tables and seeing Byron Scott and Robert Davi and Rob Van Dam going, hey, nice to see you again. Nice to see you again. That's something so simple like that, like Rob Van Dam brought up earlier, actually. That'd be cool.
We could have seen each other had I lived in Northridge, son of a bitch.
That's right.
Well, we prove now virtually and again that friendships do exist even in this realm. It's pretty cool. Now, of course, they can extend themselves to something much more physical, but awesome to see you guys together on screen, and I could see the respect that you all have for each other, and I'm taken aback. It's really been an amazing pleasure for me. Best seat in the house is mine. Let's vote right now, guys and gals and pals.
It's been an honor to be with you guys. And
yeah, pleasure, guys. Yes,
thank you very much. And guys, we're going to get these votes and see who moves on to round number 2 momentarily, and then I will speak to Byron Scott for 2 minutes right after this, and then I will speak to Rob Van Dam for 2 minutes, and then Mr. Robert Davi for 2 minutes, because they've got a lot of cool stuff coming down the pike as well. A lot of good stuff. Let's get your votes, guys. Jeff says he's going with Byron this round. Incredible conversation tonight by all. Got some text. It seems like a lot of our luminaries are watching too, and they're voting. Pretty awesome stuff here. Ed says tonight, the best show ever, and I mean that from the heart. Thank you, Ed. We appreciate that. Lisa votes for Robert. My mom grew up in Little Italy. I grew up and lived in Sinatra's hometown, which was Hoboken, and have Sunday dinners with all my cousins. That's pretty cool. Hoboken, Washington Street, Spring Street. Ramon, got to go with RVD. Okay. Jeff Jr. going with Robert Davi. Thank you. Rita going with Byron. And guys, you can tell right now that all three luminaries are willing to, of course, watch all of your comments, because 2 of them will move on to this prestigious tournament that represents something positive. Ed votes for Rob Van Dam. This is going to be close. I totally agree. Ramon goes with RVD. We have more votes. Shaquila's going with Mr. Davi. Randy going with Mr. Scott. Javon Steele going with Mr. Scott as well. Appreciate that. Really good stuff. Guys, when I was a novice screenwriter, as I pull up your votes here, in a station wagon, eating tuna because I had no money, but I still wanted to write for a living, I would watch FS1 before it became, of course, before the Nets played on the Yes channel, and I'd see Mr. Byron Scott getting interviewed by Iron Eagle in the pregame shows, and this man inspired me, and I said, this man could teach. I could tell just based on your interviews that you are a teacher, my friend. And Rob Van Dam and what he offers us as well with his life experience, I would subscribe to that. And Mr. Robert Davi, even when this broadcast is over, The night ain't over for me, man, because your stories are percolating up here, man. Thank you. Everybody's a winner tonight. Voting for RVD says Giselle. Thank you. Much to many people's chagrin, perhaps, the canine version of Yoda has not been voted on yet. No one's voted for Yoda. Truly Julie voting for Byron. Got that. And Brian votes for Byron. He spoke to me. I've been fighting with myself for a long time about my self-worth. I know I'm good enough for my dream. I've been told by many that I'm talented enough. You are. And the only person I wish to agree was my father. What you said tonight spoke to me, Byron. Thank you. That's from Brian. Thank you, Brian, for sharing that with us. A couple more guys. I vote RVDology. That's a vote. Okay, thank you so much. Chad voting for Robert. Chantel voting for Byron. All right, this is super, super close. All right, the margin, I think, is three or four, if I'm not mistaken. If I look in the back here, it's very close. RVD says Angel. Okay, and guys, let me count this thing down right now. 10, 9, 8. There's a 7 and a 6 and a 5. We know there's a 4 and a 3 and a 2. Then there's a 1 and a 0. So, with that, guys and gals and pals, as you know, round 3 is over. And with a grand total, guys and gals, of 30, as the top vote getter, moving on to round number 2, will be Byron Scott, who's in round 2 of the TKN Celebrity Tournament that features over 91 Hall of Famers, Oscar, Emmy, Grammy, Tony, Golden Globe, AMA, WGA, and Olympians all in this, and Byron will be in there as well in a few months. And then with 28, Mr. Rob Van Dam will also be in the second round of the TKN Celebrity Tournament, which features luminaries from all walks of life. But guess what? Tonight, sounds cheesy, sounds cliche, only if you guys and gals and pals, which I know you're not, are cynical. We're not. I'd rather be sappy because I mean it. We are all winners. We learned a ton. Robert Davi, I'm blown away by your mind. I'm blown away by your memory. I'm blown away by your experiences and stories. And I'm grateful for your generosity of sharing that with us.
Hey, it's my pleasure. Congratulations, guys. And
you.
it's a wonderful thing to be able to hear you and you guys sharing with all of us in a great show, Avi.
Thank you so much. Robert, I'm going to talk to you momentarily for about 2 seconds, my friend. I want to put you backstage. Robert, guys and gals, is such an incredible storyteller. And not just that. He's performed for some of the very best. The man's voice is amazing to hear. It is like sweet nectar. It's amazing. And Mr. Van Dam, if I could put you in the back momentarily as well, I want to talk about some of your stuff. Rob Van Dam, guys and gals. No, I can't wait to talk to Rob and Byron. You know, again, I know this night as well. I thank you. Thank all the people, of course, who I communicated with and put this together. You are a class act, my friend. I'm going to ask you a question because you've done a gazillion, if that's a number of these, but this is a bit different. Did you have fun?
I had a lot of fun. I mean, this is fantastic, man. You do a great job. The questions you come up with for everybody is fantastic. So obviously you do your homework. It's been a lot of fun. Your rapping is good too. I'm gonna tell you, your rapping is on point. I'm gonna tell you. So, yeah, this has been a lot of fun, man. I really appreciate it. And the two young men that I was just with, Robert and Rob, man, they are fantastic guys.
Oh, yeah.
Big fans of them guys, man. And so this has been a lot of fun. I appreciate it, and looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. And before we go, Rob, I got to bring this up because Rob brought this up and he mentioned some stuff about family. Your family is so united. It's beautiful. There's this great YouTube video that people should check out where Byron Scott and his wife discuss cultures and discuss everything from food to etiquette to family. And I love that. I love how you touch upon that. Byron, there's stuff going on in your life because you're a very busy man. What could you share with us right now, my friend?
Well, like I said, very busy. My wife and I just opened up a new med spa here in Northridge, California, called Contour Med Spa. And my wife is a registered nurse, have been for over 25 years. This is the fourth one that she's helped opened up. And she decided during the pandemic that she was done doing this. And then all of a sudden she got the itch back, which I knew she couldn't stay away too long. She's just, she's a workaholic, man. She's a hustler. And we found a spot. And when we went into the spot, I'm going to tell you, Avi, I looked at the spot. I was like, babe, I don't see what you're talking about. But her vision is unbelievable. It's one of the most beautiful spas you ever see. Wow. She's done a great job with it already. In just the short 3 months that it's been open, her clientele has been great. So she's doing it, and I'm loving where it's going right now, and just having a lot of fun with it right now.
I love hearing that. And again, teammates like Cap and Magic. Sounds like your wife, maybe one of the best teammates you've ever had.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if she passed like magic, but she closed. She closed. But I know everybody out there, if you're listening, you can go online to contourmedspa.com and look up and see everything that they provide. You know, the locations right here, like I said, in Northridge. But she's just an unbelievable partner, and we've had so much fun, you know, since we've been together, and just brings me a lot of joy. So I'm happy to see her at work doing her thing, having fun.
Love it.
And it's just a beautiful situation right now.
Well, my friend, you got a beautiful heart, and I thank you for sharing that with us tonight.
Avi, it's been a pleasure, man. You the best, dog. Can't wait to do this again.
See you again, my friend. Round number 2, Byron Scott. Have a great weekend.
Thank you. You too. I'll talk to you then.
You got it. Mr. Rob Van Dam, I want to bring you up next, my friend, because, man, like, you know how sometimes Robert Davi brought this up, and so did Jeremy London. You know, you watch some TV, you watch some films. You don't know who's going to inspire you. I have not watched TV in the longest time. I haven't watched movies in the longest time. I'm ashamed of that. I like not knowing so much about a person and then getting to know them on the phone first. And I did that with you, man. And then I started doing the deep dive afterwards. I'm like, this is amazing. So It's so cool. It's so cool to get to know the human being, because when you find out that it's linear, there's nothing wavering. You're the same on camera as you are on the phone, as I'm sure you are in real life. And I know this is not something that you're probably going to take as a compliment, but you should. Thank you for being real. Thank you for being authentic, bro. Like, that's such a rarity these days.
Yeah, no, I do take that as a compliment, and I hear that. And it's one of those qualities that I like to hear, because I put a lot of respect in that, and being genuine and being real. And a lot of people don't care. They're full of crap. They don't mind what comes out of their mouth, if it's real or BS or whatever. They don't care about their image. They don't care about their rap. They don't care about what they're doing, spreading false information, changing history by BSing, you know. And so for me, it means a lot when people trust me, because if you accuse me of not telling the truth one time, I got nothing else to say to you, because if I got no credibility, why am I wasting my breath on you?
You got a boatload of credibility, man, for being who you are. And thanks for showing us that tonight, because I know there's a lot of fans out there, different genres and different fields. But guys, be a fan of the person, because despite the name, the acclaim, and the fame, and the Hall of Fame, there are people over here like Rob Van Dam, who's got that Hall of Fame ring, who deserved it because he's a Hall of Fame person. And I have to piggyback off what I brought up earlier. You've done a ton of these online. Of course, this is different. Did you have a good time, my friend?
I did. This was fun. Yeah, I had a lot of fun, and I like exploring these thoughts, and you know, I like the roundtable effect of having the other guys there and hearing their thoughts. So it was really cool. I
looking forward to round 2.
I am.
Round 2.
Indeed, and I'm looking forward to going to Greece.
I love it. But guys, before we let Rob depart, got a great podcast. I really like your podcast, because you go everywhere and you don't shortchange the masses, which is cool. Can you tell people about your podcast?
Yeah, it's called One of a Kind, and it's on Premiere Streaming Network, and it's also on other places where you can find it, and it's on my YouTube page. So I have a lot of fun with that, and I tend to express some RVDology, and I love the feedback that I get from people telling me they heard it just at the right time, where they really needed to hear that, or it helped them out. Dude, that's just by talking, you know, and not knowing how many people are exposed to this conversation right now, but then having that feedback, like knowing that it's like helps people and stuff. It's awesome, because you know, a lot of it maybe someone hasn't heard, or if it's reiterated good value lessons, then guess what? You know, it makes it more real, and it's good to hear it a lot. So my YouTube page and all of my social media is The Real RVD.
The Real RVD, guys. And of course, you got a lot of stuff coming down the pike. If you want to bring it up now, feel free. If not, we're still going to keep you guys abreast of everything Rob is doing. But I want to leave you with this, my friend, because integrity means that you'd rather go down for what you believe in than go up for what you don't. That's you, brother.
Yes, sir. I loved it the first time I read that, and it just meant so much to me. And you know, sometimes it's sometimes, like I talked earlier about, everyone has their own priorities and stuff. People can look at RVD and they can say, I messed up because when I had the heavyweight championship belt, I got pulled over for speeding and I was dirty. A lot of people look at that like, oh, if you just wouldn't have done that, but that's looking at me as if the only thing I was a pro wrestler, like a character, like an image and that is how I live in other people's minds, but being the real person that I am, I look at all those things differently, of course. So.
I don't want to use the word worship, but like when idol worship is not something I subscribe to, but here, as much as fans of yours sometimes do have that, you're the one that says, no, man, I'm real. I'm just like you guys. That's a rarity again. Man, I had such a blast with you. You're in round number 2. I'm happy to hear that there's so much good stuff coming down the pike. I will talk to you very soon, my friend, and thank you for sharing your time with us this evening.
Sounds great. Thanks, Avi. Talk to you soon. Thanks, everybody. Van Dam fan.
Rob Van Dam, guys, a legend of a human being and a legendary talent. And I could say the same, and I will, about Mr. Robert Davi, who was a class act. And again, the conversation that we had here, guys and gals, I had this with Robert. Of course, things are always different and they take on a shape and life of their own. But over the phone, I could clearly tell, I said, this is a man that's going to share his heart with us and educate us. And you educated us on a lot of things tonight. I learned a lot from you tonight. I learned a lot.
That's your doing.
No,
that's your doing, Avi.
No,
you and everybody's, contribution.
Can we agree that us Queens cats are pretty cool cats? We're cool.
Absolutely. Astoria, Queens, and Queens, Flushing, wherever you are.
Yeah.
Long Island.
I love it. Robert, I want to say this again to you as well. I'd like to have you back. There's so much that you're doing also. What would you like to share with our audience watching now, if anything?
In terms of life?
Anything that's going on in the world of Robert Davi.
Well, is it?
And there's so many things we can't talk about, guys, but you're going to be seeing a lot of great projects because
If you want to talk about the projects,
sure,
or to go further into Cicero, you know what I mean?
Anything would be a gift, but yeah.
I mean, no, I'm concerned about the nation, of course.
Sure.
Concerned about the misunderstanding,
Sure.
And I hope people respond to this. But in 1776, 9 universities in 1776, to get entry into the university, they had to be able to read Cicero and Virgil in Latin and the New Testament in Greek.
Yeah.
And the 1776 and the dissipation of our educational system, it's not a joking matter.
No, it's not.
And this is what's happened.
I drove myself out of it because it's become so mediocre. Remember that test I told you that I said, and I want you to continue, my friend. But I actually, and guys, regardless of your policies, in 2008, I remember taking McCain's top policies, domestically speaking, putting them under Obama's name, and I did the same thing for Obama. So I flip-flopped the 3 of their domestic policies, and when the students walked in, they picked who they wanted. They picked whose policies resonated with them. And of course, they were the wrong policies. That didn't surprise me. But when my fellow teachers walked in and did the same thing, that did surprise me. And that's when I went, uh-oh, we're in trouble.
Mm-hmm. And you think about it, we're all compassionate people. Immigration is a big thing. When my family came, and a lot of people came from Italy back in the 1900s and the turn of the century and going on, but they had to have a sponsor. They had to have some money and a job. That's what they had to have to get into the country. And then to become citizens, they had to learn English, civics.
Sure.
What's happening today, and this is what Cicero talked about and why I wanted to bring up Cicero, is what happening today is an invasion, and Rome wasn't able to sustain itself because of what happened in immigration in Rome. And I see that happening in my country, in our country. I see that happening in the United States. And it's been going on for a long time, this chipping away at the absolute foundation of, and even in terms of the divinity of our, even back in the day, Cicero understood that the law, there was a divine aspect to our nature, our human nature, a divine act. Because many people say, well, the Constitution wasn't based on, there was no God, there was no this, there was no faith, there was no this. It's untrue. That's a different kind of thing that's affected us, a different thing that has been propagandized. And I can go on, and I don't want to use this platform for it, but I can go on and on what's happened since the 1920s, how we've been infiltrated on purpose in a philosophical way. Like I said, with education, there's no reason why people can't learn Greek and Latin. It does something else to them.
But your faith is powerful.
There's a discipline. It's inspiring. It's powerful. And anyway, I don't want to go, but it is.
No. It's powerful. It's inspiring, and because of that, maybe we can have faith in our educational system. I'm hoping we can, because to one who has faith, no explanation is necessary. To one without faith, no explanation is even possible. You do have faith. I have faith, but I also have a not a cynicism in people. I have a cynicism in people that treat their political parties like they're a sports team.
Mm-hmm.
Why not root for the policy? I'd love to see somebody in a rally go, I love this policy. I love that policy. I love what this stands for.
Well, there was a guy that was running on the Democratic Party that went to a MAGA rally recently. And he was shocked that he was so happy. He says, these people are great. Wait a second. I understand these people. I understand they're not what they say. You know what I mean? And this is the demonization on both sides. It goes on both sides. But there's something more nefarious that goes on that we don't have enough time to in our soundbite life, because we're there trying to create a sustenance and whatever it is, growing our families, and the misinformation that gets thrown at us continually, the barrage of that. So it's unfortunate. So that's why I think we have to, when you said, that's why I took Cicero as opposed to Humphrey Bogart,
sure,
which would have been a fun night. But to me, we're on the precipice of losing a nation. How can I go out and have a fun night when the precipice of our nation is where it's right there? We're tipping, and I've got more decades than probably a lot of the listeners. I've seen and with my kids, the educational process diminishing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? We talked about Martin Luther King, the content of your character, not just the color of your skin. I'm sure Byron would have stuff to say about that. And it works all different ways, of course. And
but what you did tonight, though, was you restored faith in humanity for me. I know I can't speak for everyone, but I can see that they concur. And that's a beautiful thing. So maybe we build on this small moment that we had tonight. And I definitely want to keep in touch often, because you have already become a friend. And thank you for sharing your heart and soul and mind with us tonight, Robert Davi.
Thank you, Avi. Thank you for having us all here. And congratulations to Byron and Rob. It was great hearing their point of view, and to Jeremy and to Kelly and to all your listeners. God bless you all.
Talk to you soon, my friend.
All right.
The great Robert Davi, guys and gals. Wow. Kelly, Giselle, John, and Howard. We're going to do an outro in about 2 minutes, because this went long, but I can't complain that it went long. So I'm rarely speechless. Maybe you guys can help me a little bit. Kelly, let me start with you, my friend. Guys, very briefly, I want to bring this up because Kelly White's going to be here. Don't go anywhere, guys. We've got a beautiful outro. Some more videos that I'll play in the black box that I can't play tonight due to time constraints. And, of course, next Saturday night, another huge, amazing show that I'm not giving attention to now because I'm blown away. Kelly, would you concur?
I absolutely would, man. This was a different kind of night. And
every time you're here, it's a different kind of a night. You bring a lot to the table, brother.
Well, I appreciate that. Maybe I bring something out on people. I don't know, but
no.
It was. And you know how hard that is to say with, looking in the rear view, the people we've had, the conversations that have been had.
Sure.
But yeah, Robert, I am just utterly disappointed that Robert Davi did not make it through. And, I had a hand in that.
Why not have fun? It's a Saturday night. Kelly,
absolutely.
why not make it official? And of course, you'll vote on it later when the time is right. Is Robert Davi one of your votes for the Second Chance Bowl after tonight?
I think, I've been pushing for Eric Roberts. I just like the dude. I think on any other night he would have been in, but Robert Davi, I think, is one of the most interesting people. And again, that 100%. Is so hard to say with who we've had on, but one of the most interesting people that have come through here.
Well, including yourself. I mean, look, again, you're in this competition, which is all about education and learning. And maybe now wearing the crown of being the champion of this entire tournament takes on a whole new meaning. Maybe now it represents being proud of being a part of these conversations that speak to people. So when you get voted, when you see your name pop up, it means you affected someone positively. Why not want to win the whole tournament for that reason? Pretty cool.
Oh, absolutely. Me, I'm competitive.
Sure.
I'm also a realist. But with that said, no, it's not like, well, I don't have a chance. I think I have a very good chance.
I do too.
By the same token, any given Saturday.
Chat says it all the time.
3 different topics, and this could have been very different. It could have been Robert in the number 1 slot.
Easily. And there's a few more spots. So maybe Robert Davi will be one of Kelly's votes. There's a few more spots.
I can say he's going to be one of mine. That's definite.
There you go. Guys and gals, I'm going to bring in John, Red, Giselle, Howard, and Mindy right now because why not? I mean, this team, this incredible family that has become a big, huge part of my life. I can't say enough about them. They're huge. And Kelly White, again, every time you're on here on screen, it's magical. Before I bring them on, guys, D&D, Dungeons and Dragons. We've been waiting for the news. Tell you what, Kelly, after round number 1, and guys, Black Box will be on Joe Rizart's page, 8 p.m. Eastern Time this Wednesday, and also on Kate Young Hart's page, 8 p.m. Eastern Time this Wednesday. Check it out because some huge announcements we couldn't get to tonight. Huge, including my huge announcement, which I'm not going to mention. But I will bring up D&D. Guys, Dungeons & Dragons, we've got quite the campaign. A lot of celebrities are involved as well. Me too. There's going to be an amazing live experience taking place after round number 1 because we talked about specialty shows. What does that mean? It means we have to have a bit of a buffer between round 1 and 2. There's going to be Saturday night shows on the green room before round 1 and 2 to build up the suspense for round 2, sure. But those shows will consist of the bracket special, where we have one show dedicated to finding out who faces who in round 2. So the audience will find out in real time what the matchups are in round 2. That'll happen after round 1. There'll be a promo special where you'll see some of the competitors, again, sending messages to their opponents. That'll be fun. How about this for a specialty show? D&D Night, the debut. You will not only see the luminaries, we're going to play the actual game right before round 2 begins, and then frequently thereafter as well, maybe once a month. Kelly, I can't wait. How do you feel about it, brother?
Oh, absolutely. This whole journey, there's been quite a few moments that have made me really look forward to a Saturday night or, just shooting something that, you'd written for me. I think D&D kind of tops the list for me, to be honest, because of my involvement with it for so long. If you didn't know it, the 26th, yesterday, was the 50th official anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons. This is when Gary published this out of the basement of his house in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. It was the original wood grain or white box with the little booklets in it. I think I've showed you the couple I've got. I treasure those greatly. And I've been involved for 42 out of those 50 years.
That's incredible.
I have met
50 years. Wow.
Yeah. I have met so many people in my life have entered my life because of this common thread, and we have become lifelong friends. Something I pointed out to you a couple weeks ago when I was on the last show and we talked about D&D at that point, and I made a little post about it. The fact that we are actually going to use the world of Dragonlance, which is one of the early worlds. Both authors of that world, Margaret Weiss and Tracy Hickman, both jumped on the post and basically gave us their blessing in playing this game. If you're a D&D fan like I am, that's pretty darn huge, to be honest. to get that from the people that wrote these books back in the 80s when they came out. A whole series of novels, game books, whole 9 yards.
I love knowing that, like, because, you know, when we're on live, we talked about truth. That's the reoccurring theme tonight. And the truth is, we don't know who's listening, who's watching a lot of times. And to be able to resonate to, even if they're not commenting, it's a beautiful thing, man. And the world of D&D, guys and gals, is built on truth and creativity. Kelly style. Kelly White is going to give it to us like no other, brother. So it's going to be pretty cool. Next Saturday night, guys, before we depart, let's get to 4,000 comments. We're close. What, 3-9? Let's get those fingers moving. Let's go to 4K. I'm going to bring in Mr. Red, Giselle, Howard, Joe, and Mindy. Briefly, let's bring them all in. Giselle,
hi.
John Red is here live.
Hey guys.
Hey John.
Howard Collato's here live.
Hey, what's up, guys?
I got to keep these two a little apart here. What about this? Sorry, Kelly. Perhaps about that. Mindy Red and Joe Risitano. Welcome, Joe.
Hey.
Good to see Mr. Joe Risitano.
Joe.
Love it. Guys and gals, really quickly, because we're going to get out of here real soon. Let's get to 4K, maybe even afterwards. We love what we did tonight. How about this? Let's make it a soundbite. 30 seconds or less. John Red, your thoughts on tonight's historic conversation that really epitomizes what a living room conversation is all about, my friend.
You know, Avi, when you announce these guys, you know, I know I say it all the time. You know what you're doing. It's not, you don't just pick them off a tree. You know what you're doing. You put these guys together, and man, tonight was a conversation that turned into like a town hall meeting. I mean, it really, everything was so deep, and they went places. There's not enough words. It was just wonderful, man. This was a wonderful night. Maybe I know it's like Kelly said, in hindsight, looking back, what's happened and what we've seen and what's transpired, this has been a great tournament, but tonight might have topped them all.
Might have topped them all. When it comes to what we're doing, when it comes to what we're saying, guys and gals and pals, usually it's not the case. You know that on Saturday nights, when I take one of these things off, I'm still prim and proper, but tonight you see it's everywhere. I was sweating, not even voting. That's how crazy tonight was. It's insane, Howard Collado. Would you agree? I mean, what we did tonight really epitomizes what we always talk about behind the scenes as well.
120%. I mean, Avi, it starts first and foremost with your questions. You know, I think of it in terms of a musician, right? A song has to have a key, right? And then once you have that key, other musicians come in and they're able to jam, and your questions are the key, so to speak, that everyone kind of, you know, jams to. And God, we went from pop culture to Cicero to Padre Pio to, I mean, Barbie.
Can you say that again?
Padre Pio.
Love it.
Yeah, no.
He's the only one who's going to be able to say it correctly. Other than
yeah, probably.
No, it's just, this is it. This is the quintessential essence of what we talk about. I mean, I'll end it with this. It's almost reminiscent of, you know, those pictures when you see like Plato and Socrates, and like they're looking at the sky and looking at each other, and they're having these in-depthful, beautiful conversations. I mean, this is it, man. It's it's profound.
Love it. I love it. This is why I love Saturday nights. I'm going to throw it over to and she could write, because when she said doesn't have a voice, please don't strain yourself, Mindy, because I know that you're going through a lot. She'll have her voice soon, guys and gals, because we're praying for her. Mindy's awesome. What a powerful night. I am blown away. Yeah, I mean, that's how I feel too. And Giselle, your thoughts?
When topic one has the same kind of reaction that the third topic usually gets, you know it's going to be a good night.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
One of the most difficult to choose anywhere. And I loved all of the stories in between the moments and how they were all able to catapult off of what everyone else said. So this is definitely one of my best nights. I think last week I said was one of my favorite
matches.
You did
say that. I was going to say, yeah, you did say
This is one of my best nights.
I just want you all to know before I kick it over to Joe, he'll unmute when he's ready, but I want to say this to you guys real quick. when I drop those audios to you, and you know what I'm talking about, this is what I'm talking about, because I know that sometimes being able to share your vision with others is going to come with a caveat, because someone might be listening to you while they're multitasking. Someone might be listening to you while they're not, because they can't, because life happens, and we get that. But like, just remember what I say in those audios and relate it to tonight, because this is why I want this thing to succeed, not because of the glitz and glamour and the dollars. And Howard knows me for a long time. I'm one of the like least social media people out there. Like, there's nothing. What, 5 pictures of me or 6? Because I just don't. You know, I taught for a living and wrote, and anonymity was my thing. Like, I'm not doing this for money. I do well. I'm doing this because I want other people to get inspired and realize they can have a good time by doing so. And that's what this ensemble is. We do it together. It is not Avi Klein and the Green Roomers. It is TKN. That's all of us. It's Kelly White, Howard Colato, John Red, Joe Rositano, Mindy Red, Giselle, Pete Sharpie, Bill Donahue. By the way, he's in the Second Chance Bowls we found the other night on Wednesday night as well. So it's really the collective, guys and gals and pals. I love what we do. We are going to hopefully resonate with more people. If this thing gets picked up, I believe it will, because it's in my heart, it's in my soul. I won't stop till it does. And until then, keep showing up on Saturdays, because you will get blown away by the authenticity of it all. You'll always receive authenticity from us. And you will hopefully never receive any more technical snafus from me. That won't happen. I promise. Where else can you get stimulated, educated, and inspired and crack up 2 seconds later when you see a canine that looks like Yoda? That's what we bring on the Green Room as well, guys, on Saturday night. Joe Rositano, any thoughts from you, my good friend? On the road, Joe. Any thoughts, Joe? Any thoughts?
On the road, literally, in Indianapolis. I have to tell you all, I'm sorry for all the noise. There's sirens and everything, because this is how crazy life gets for me. But, no, I'm in Indianapolis. So I'm going to take a moment over here to get in the corner, but I just want to say love you all. And what I saw tonight, Robert Davi, I feel bad that he didn't make it into our next portion, but I hope that he makes it out of the Second Chance Bowl and gets to be more in this tournament, because there's a lot of insight and a lot of heart, and the votes matter, and it's important. And a lot of people win the argument right after a lose, so gotta give him credit. Love it.
Joe Rositano, host of the voiceover and the Black Box. We'll see him very soon, guys. In month of February and March, we'll be seeing more of Joe as well. Guys and gals, he's in round 2. Every single person here on this panel is in the second round, with the exception of one, Giselle, who's in round number 3. Excuse me. Guys and gals and pals, if you want to know, you got to watch, again, the Black Box. A lot of stuff happening over there. Please, guys, check out all our posts. The Green Roomers are posting. We appreciate that. Comment, like. Chad, we went really long, my friend. Got your video. I want everyone to see it, Chad. So that's why I'm going to play it next week, because I know the last couple of matchups have gone real long. But we want everyone to see it, Chad. Every single person.
Absolutely.
We love Chad in his top 10, right? It's awesome. We love Chad.
Oh, yeah.
Top 10.
They're insightful. They're entertaining. He always has the best ideas.
Chad is awesome.
List.
Yeah, you know what? I will play this, though, because Chad's top 10 could be played any night, because he hits upon a topic that would be able to, I guess, make sense on any given night based on where he goes, which is great. However, this man I have to air right now, because he will not be in jolly old England next week. So, guys, this is Mr. Fred
Ottman, Tugboat, Typhoon, the Shockmaster, the B-A-double-D. Big Steel Man coming at you live from London. That's right, I'm right here by Wembley Stadium. And I got some exciting news. Oh, my God. January 27th. That's right. Tonight, Saturday night, there's going to be some excitement happening. First of all, we've got an NBA legend, okay? An award-winning actor, and a wrestling Hall of Famer. Who are they? Can you guess? Might be some extra money in your pocket if you can. Bottom line is, tonight on the Green Room, on the TKN Network, another exciting episode of the Grand Debate. And as I keep telling you guys and girls, they coming from every part of the world to be a part of this exciting program. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be great to hear what they all have to say. And when all the smoke is cleared, who's going to be the surviving winner? I don't know, but I may have to peek in from across the pond to see. Love you guys. I hope you have a great night and enjoy this thing. Man, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and badder and awesomer. I don't know what else to tell you. It's just crazy. Bye.
Good old Fred.
Always love me some Fred. Fred's energy.
Me too. And let me ask the viewers, guys, do you want to see Chad's top 10 tonight, or do you want to see it next week? The reason why I said next week is because it could play on any night, but maybe more eyeballs on it because we love what Chad does. That's the great Fred Ottman. He's in round number 2 as well. He's over in jolly old England, as he said. Guys, really quickly, I guess a couple of next week's for Chad. I see some comments here that allude to the fact they want to see Chad's next week. Okay, that's fine, guys. Next week says Julie Hall. All right, let's go, Chad. Next week says Phil. Play now says Julie. Tonight says Lisa. Let's see Chad's top 10. Let's do it, Chad.
Okay.
All right, Chad, this is your top 10, brother. Lewis says next week. Next week. I love Fred tonight. I'm going to ask the panel, Kelly, Giselle, Howard, John, are we playing Chad's top 10 now or next week?
I'm going to vote next week because I've been in his shoes. I've cut a video. The shows went long. We all know a few people drift out at the end of the night. I think Chad's deserves all eyes. So I would say patience, brother. Let's see it next week.
I agree. Howard, Giselle, John?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Kelly. I do agree with that. Chad put so much thought, depth in those top 10s, and it's yeah, I think it's.
Let me tell you, Chad is extremely intelligent, very passionate. We appreciate Chad because Chad is TKN every day. So that's why I want to give you guys a chance to vote. Giselle, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm also going to say next week. You say Chad is TKN every day, and he is right there. He is on our post pretty much the second they go up. He must have all of his notifications on alert every single time one of us posts. He's sharing our content. He's making sure the groups run well. He's everywhere for us, and I want him to have his due and his roses and have as many people as possible be able to see what an intelligent and wonderful person that Chad is.
Oh, he's a great human being. John, Red, your thoughts?
I agree. I mean, pretty much what Giselle said right there. I know that a lot of times when I go back to add tags, he's already liked my post, and it's always, I really appreciate that. You know, I can tell by when he does these top 10s, he puts a lot of thought and a lot of effort into it, and I think that deserves to have a spotlight. So yeah, next week for me.
Well, you know what, guys? How about we compromise a little bit? Why don't we live a little bit? Guys, this is a sneak peek of Chad's top 10. A couple of seconds just to entice you a little bit. Leave you wanting more because, yes, Chad is a huge part of our show as well, guys. Chad's top 10, as I'm trying to pull this up right here, and maybe it was actually, I can't pull it up. Okay. All right, guys, listen. Chad's top 10 will not be pulled up. Give me a moment, guys, because I do want to give you a sneak peek of Chad's top 10.
Yeah, I think it's going to elicit some more interest. You know, get a little taste of Chad's brain, his thinking process.
Yeah. Chad goes real deep. Guys and gals, Chad's top 10 will be playing next week. For its entirety. The entirety of Chad's top 10 will be next week because sometimes StreamYard does what it did to me earlier. It is what it is. I'm not teasing. You know how to make you feel the love. Of course, man, Chad, you rock. 4K comments, guys. That means our gang can enjoy the outro. As you know, next week will be the 175th consecutive episode of The Green Room. Milestone, of course. Really quickly, of course, we did have some milestones as well. That I do want to play. It's about 1 minute. Let's enjoy this milestone from this past.
12 points. It's probably like 12.3 now. I bet
really
you.
cool, really cool. I'm glad you guys again appreciate what we do, and again for Kelly White, who again was a judge tonight. God Almighty, what a tough one. Kelly White showed us what he's made of, not only as a competitor, but also as a judge. To be able to, I would be stumped. I would be the most annoying human being that would still be on this microphone attempting to render a vote. Kelly did. He's a class act. Howard Collado, guys and gals, who's been here since day number uno. Mindy Red, who, despite not having a voice, is here all the time, changing minds. And man, her work ethic, she's one of the strongest human beings I know. Giselle, guys and gals, not only in the third round, but what she does consistently every day is something to behold. And Mr. John Red, who, again, despite his work schedule, is always here to give us a smile, a great storyteller, handsome human being internally and externally. He's a great dude, a friend and a brother. This is what it's all about, guys and gals. Joe Rositano as well, who is telling us he's in Indiana, but it sounds like he's in Brooklyn. Guys and gals and pals, enjoy the outro. We're out of here right after the outro. Thank you for sticking around. Congrats to Mr. Byron Scott, Rob Van Dam. They will be in round number 2. Robert Davi wowed us with his intellect and heart and soul as well, as did Jeremy London. Guys and gals, hopefully you enjoyed everything at the end of this outro. A sneak peek as to who might show up next week on the first Saturday of February.
This was going to be talent every time.
I wanted to win, but I wanted them to win and be a part of that as well.
You got all the talent in the world, but are you obsessed?
Winning has a price, and leadership has a price.
We can't be consumed by our petty differences anymore. Is it all you ever think about?
I wanted to win, but I wanted them to win and be a part of that as well. If you don't want to play that way,
Jordan has come up with another. All the way in! Oh, God! Wayne over to double team. Michael underneath. I get it to Jordan.
don't play that way.
Dedication, labor, innovation only arrive when your effort is absolute, so put that in a tweet. By that I mean good old-fashioned work ethic. Wholehearted passion, effort, and consistency never lead to regret.
Oh, there's my passion.
It's the day when the world declared in one voice, we will not go quietly into the night.
It was a sedation and an attempt at a coup d'etat that day.
We will not vanish without a fight.
Oh, there's my passion.
We're going to live on. We're going to survive.
To overthrow our government. I won't let January 6th die.
Today, we celebrate our Independence Day.
So there's my passion.
Having quiet time. There's nothing illegal about it. And then you can pray to the God of your choice.
I'm a Muslim, I'm a Christian, I'm whatever you want me to be. It all comes down to the same thing.
Whatever spirituality that you believe in that drives you, that helps you with your value system.
You're in a loving place.
You can do it. Absolutely. And however you've been brought up.
Or you're in an unloving place.
I'm here to win it. I'm here to win it. I'm here to.
I'm the best ever.
I'm gonna kick your ass. I'm gonna kick your ass.
Win it!
Be myself.
I'm the most brutal and vicious and most ruthless champion there's ever been.
And instead of the political figures, you know, those who hide behind the Iron Curtain.
Words will always retain their power. And where once you had the freedom to object, to think and speak as you saw fit.
And there was a guy named Tom Landry
over there. You know, you're always ahead of the play. I'm watching the defense to see what's going to happen, and
who was hired to turn this horrible franchise into something.
Ring of Honor stands for the men who built this franchise and had it called America's Team.
One of our both favorite athletes, Muhammad Ali.
It was brought up like, oh, that's pretty good. My coach later on was, that's pretty good for a girl.
There's really nobody to do what needs to be done.
I'm like, what do you mean? This is pretty good for anybody.
And I think the support system is such a big deal because,
you know, and something is good, but it should be bigger.
I have a story that I think that should be shared with
young girl.
Get away from her, you bitch!
But there was this feeling of competition when I got on board there when we started the show.
Expect to see him a little bit later.
Sorry, guys. I'm going to kick.
Here's McElwain on second and 15.
I'm going to kick. I'm going to kick.
Block. Pass will be dropped.
I'm going to kick your ass.
Really see and imagine how I was when I was growing up.
We've lost hundreds of millions in value, and I'm the CEO of Apple, Steve. That's my resume.
And then it became for me more educational.
And I think if you correspond that to what happened in the Vietnam War,
600 million people, they say, watched the landing on the moon.
And it was like, I forgot the competition. I really started enjoying it like a fun show to listen to.
You be posted on that, man.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Really bringing something to the table that's absolutely amazing, Avi.
But before that, you sold carbonated sugar water, right? I sat in a fucking garage with Wozniak and invented the future because artists lead and hacks ask for a show of hands.
Absolutely amazing, Avi.
And invented the future.
That's just a fact. I'm not saying mentally we're not unequal or anything like that.
Then they're going to be more prone to do with their job.
Comes the 1-1 pitch. And they're going to probably 99% of the time want to take this to court of some sort.
Feminism materializes through the investment in this human capital.
Of how someone in the worst of situations makes it into something better.
Will get you to your goal because then you don't die or kill somebody.
No one, not his mother, not his friends, not his coworkers, not the people in the political party, believed that that man could have done what he was being accused of.
18-year-old reported missing by his mother in January.
And the women, I mean, they were vessels for creating human beings.
He slides! That's the very definition of a dynasty.
The Indians win it! The Indians win it! Get up, Bill! Get up, you son of a bitch! Mickey loves you.
In any fight, it's the guy who's willing to die who's going to win that inch. And I know if I'm going to have any luck. Look at the guy next to you. Look into his eyes. Now I think you're going to see a guy who will go that inch. Who will sacrifice himself for this.
You know what? Maybe one of the world's problems will get solved by listening to the show.
The stand at the helm of your destiny. I want that. Give me that.
Avi, I'm gonna win this whole thing. Watch.
I know you are, Tom. I know you are.